my platforms on as well. I see we got Know the Ledge on, and Sankofa Revolutionary Radio is on as well. Now, just for y'all to know, I kind of have a hard stop around 10 o'clock because I have to travel. But, let's make it happen. I also have some really good things to share, some new updates on on a, on a very, very serious cancer reversal. And I have some of the documentation. I spoke to the brother this weekend, and I'm going to share it with the audience as well. And then we can get into a testimonial around high blood pressure and diabetes. A lot of people have been contacting me about high blood pressure and diabetes recently, so I do want to share. Uh, I want to share a testimonial on how this brother reverses high blood pressure and diabetes, and let him tell his story. It's on our website, herbalresults.net, and I see people are starting to tune in. I think people are getting used to tuning in at these times. It's becoming a ritual for people, so it's good to see. So just want to check in with the brothers Red Pill, brother Anthony. How y'all doing, man?
All is well, my brother. How are you?
I'm productive, man. Very productive. Having
Man,
a Yeah, I'm having a great day. Had a great weekend,
yes,
and
sir.
brother Anthony, I understand you were in Florida.
And I'm doing fabulous, man. Good to be back.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't make my way up north to your place, man. But I did want
yeah,
to Orchard. I got to get down there to
yeah, yeah.
visit.
Whenever you do, but you were in Miami, right?
Yeah, I was. Right on.
Okay. Yeah, you had a good time.
It was all good.
It was
Yes,
all
sir.
good.
I appreciate you asking.
Excellent. Yeah,
Yes,
man.
yes.
It was
Cool,
fantastic.
man.
Brother Red
Yeah.
Pill, you doing good
It
this
was
morning?
on, it
We
was
got a
on
guest on your end,
vacation.
Brother Pill.
Say it again.
We got a guest. You got a guest
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm bringing on Sister
for us this
Ariel
morning.
today.
Is that what I heard?
Yes, indeed. We
Okay,
have a
good.
sister coming through,
Look
and
forward to it.
yeah, she's on it, man.
Okay.
She got the science.
Look forward to
She
it.
got she has products. You know what I mean? She's gonna be a guest at our lecture next Saturday with Ross Ben. She's gonna be in the building with some cacao and some science in her products.
Okay. When's she calling in?
Good. Excellent.
In about 10 minutes.
Okay, that's
Uh huh.
cool. That's cool. So we'll go over some things. And that's cool. And you can interview her. I do have a hard stop at 10 a.m.
Yes,
Eastern
sir.
because I've got to travel. But y'all can handle the show from there. But yeah, man. Can you talk about the lecture that you have coming up, brother Red Pill?
I surely can, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am going to be in New York City, ladies and gentlemen, Brooklyn to be exact, at Nicholas Brooklyn Bookstore, one of the staples in our community. They've been serving us for about 50 years now.
Big up, Monique.
Big up Monique. All right. Big up Perfunia.
Mm-hmm.
Big up all of the New York audience. I was just in New York recently, and I did realize that there's not a lot going on in the city when it comes to lectures. You know what I mean? There's not a lot going on, especially when it comes to health related information. Um, this year has been so unpredictable. This year has been so quote unquote topsy turvy for a lot of people. One of the magic powers and one of the things that good brother Ross Ben specializes in is he could forecast the future. He's the what we consider a prediction model, right? He uses an arcane science. He reads the stars. He's into astrology. I would say a high level of astrology. He has his own system. And what he's going to be doing is the quote unquote 2026 prediction cycle. He's going to also be giving a lot of people updates on the Third Eye Atlas. That's something that he's been doing a lot of research on. The effects that it's having on the planet right now. He predicted a lot of the earthquakes that are coming that already have hit. He predicted the continuation of the war. He's also predicted a lot of political scandals that beginning to unfold this year and whatnot. So he's been pretty on point and whatnot. So the brother is gonna come and talk about Jason, the Jason months leading up to Janus, which is January, and a little bit of 2027, right? So that's gonna be one for the ages right there. And I'm also gonna open up, and what I'm gonna be doing is introducing everybody in Brooklyn about something that they may be unfamiliar with, and that's the prediction markets, right? And what we're going to be encouraging our family to do is to tap into more of a forecasting type of thing. I have a student of mine. She built her own prediction market. I'm going to have her open up and introduce that as well. And we don't promote gambling, Brother Heru, but we do promote forecasting. Okay. We're gonna build out a model that's gonna test our community's power when it comes to forecasting. It's gonna test our community's power when it comes to predictions. It's not gonna be something that you'll be trading paper money with. This will be more like a mock-up site, but it's also something that we could strengthen our prediction skills. We could strengthen our forecasting skills, and we could find out who in our community is really about that life. Like who can really forecast the future. So that's gonna be something we'll be doing.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about what Ross Ben is doing. Anyone who is successful at forecasting the future, I'd love to have a conversation with them about the stock market. I'd like to, that would be very valuable.
Yes,
And I
you're
mean,
right.
if you could forecast the direction of what a stock is going to do, you'd make millions and millions of dollars. So I would certainly love to talk to Ross Ben about what he feels about certain stocks and where things are going, and we can test it to see how accurate it is. I mean, I don't know if his forecasting has anything to do with the financial markets, but that's the type of person I would like to talk to.
Well, to be very candid with you, I have three people in my network, KTLians, who were tapped into his show. We did a show in December of 2025 on the winter solstice leading into 2026. And these three students were able to take the information that Ross Ben gave and put out there, and they were able to apply it to their stocks and whatnot. They were able to apply it to their portfolio, and
Hmm.
all three of them are winning, right? So
Okay.
he's not into playing the market, but he's giving out the information that people who play the market are using when it comes time to them hedging or shorting and things of that nature.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about it, definitely, and see, if the accuracy is there and it's consistent. It could be quite valuable to a lot of things that we're doing.
Oh man, yeah. And going back to what I was saying initially, the goal is to build out a model, and we'll have the astrologers make their predictions. We'll also
Hmm.
have AI make predictions. All right. We'll have the audience making some predictions, and then we're gonna score everybody. Right? Nobody
Okay.
has to put no money down. This is not about capitalizing on the predictions yet, right?
Hmm.
And we're dealing with probabilities,
Okay.
reasoning, things of that nature. You feel me? But it's time to test some of our skills and just to see if there's accuracy, right? There comes a
Hmm.
time when you have to put everything on the table, and now is that time.
Okay. Cool. Carlos Mercado says need recommendations on tooth decay. Well, the biggest culprit for tooth decay will be sugar and refined carbohydrates. So you see what sugar does to the teeth, burns a hole in your teeth, called it cavities. So you want to cut down on your refined carbohydrates. That's the wheat, the crackers, the cookies, sugar, drinks, soda. You want to cut down on that and then
I'm
start.
sorry, can you go through the refined carbohydrates again?
Yeah, so refined carbohydrates are usually any carbohydrates that are white. They're usually refined. So that would be your white rice, the white flour, cookies, crackers, the breads. All of those are refined carbohydrates. Spaghetti, pastas, they're refined carbohydrates. They convert to sugar very quickly, but as you eat those foods, the sugar deposits and the carbohydrate deposits are, left in your mouth, and they end up decaying your teeth. And then sometimes people would have some type of bacterial infections that are decaying their teeth too. So I'll tell you what not to do and then what to do. So what not to do is the sugar is going to decay the teeth. The refined carbohydrates is going to decay the teeth. What to do if you want to get your teeth back in terms of stopping the decay and reversing it. Something as simple as chewing cloves,
Yeah.
CLOVE, uh, religiously is I actually have cloves right here. I chew cloves all the time, right?
Mm.
So you chew cloves is actually very good for your breath, and it deals with reversing tooth decay and any type of tooth problems. Actually, cloves is very good for getting rid of pain in your teeth if you're having any type of problems with, you have tooth aches. Clove oil works very good for that. And then,
Yeah, I used that before.
what you want to do is you can start doing what they call oil pulling. But the oil pulling that I would do is I would mix a few drops of oregano oil with a tablespoon of coconut oil, and then you just put it in your mouth and you swirl it in your mouth um, for a few minutes, maybe 3 minutes, 4, 5 minutes. Sometimes people do it for 20 minutes, and then you spit it out, and it will get rid of the negative bacteria that is causing the tooth decay. So that's your answer, Carlos. Okay, and you spit it out, so you don't swallow it. You spit it out. Okay. Um, do parasites and bacteria build tolerance to olive leaf extract? The answer is actually no. They do not. So there's a few things that parasites and bacteria do not build tolerance to. Olive leaf extract is one of them. Tends to be very good as an antibacterial. There have been studies where it's been more effective than amoxicillin. Um, and ivermectin as well. Ivermectin is actually very good because parasites, pathogens have not learned how to develop resistance to ivermectin. So, that's a good question. Um, what natural herbs, if any, raises testosterone levels? One herb that's very good for raising testosterone levels is Tongkat Ali. So you can get
Mm.
Tongkat Ali, and that raises testosterone very well. Okay. Big up to Roma. One love, Roma. How long to use your olive leaf extract product to clear skin issues? I would say use it for a month, and it should clear up your skin issues. And uh, there's a cream that I recommend for skin issues. You can get it actually at Walgreens. It's ivermectin cream. Uh, they sell it at Walgreens, so you can get it, or you can get it from me. I have some ivermectin cream, so you can contact us at info@herbalresults.net and just say that you're interested in the ivermectin cream, and we can ship it to you. You send us a cash app, we'll ship it to you, or you can go to Walgreens. They have an ivermectin cream there, and it pretty much works for almost all skin issues. And we used to have a gel that I made, but I stopped making it. It was just too tedious to make, so I just refer people to the Walgreens ivermectin cream. And let me just show you all what it looks like. If you got any skin issues, I mean, it's very, very like simple. It works for all types. Let me just put it here, and I'm going to share it with you all so you all can look at it, and then we'll go over something very positive happened this weekend. I got a report from a brother that I've been working with for the last since April, who came to me with stage 4 prostate cancer. And I'm about to show you all. So let me show you all the Walgreens ivermectin lotion. This one isn't as strong as the one that I have, but it can still do its job. They say it's for lice, but it's for much more than that. And of course, they're not going to tell you these things because they want you to pay big money. Um, Let me just share it with you all. Here it is right here. So you can get this from Walgreens, y'all. Like as quiet as kept. So this is it here. See it?
Yeah.
0.5%. I have a stronger ivermectin cream for the same price, but this will tend to work. And most of you all have a Walgreens close to you, so you wouldn't have to wait for me to ship it to you. But you should just go ahead and try this ivermectin lotion, 0.5% at Walgreens. If you've got any type of skin issues, I'm talking about serious skin issues, infections, whatever, use the ivermectin lotion and thank me later. All right.
Mm.
Um, and it's like people are so amazed because they've never been told these things. Um, there have been many cases of people with skin cancer using ivermectin cream, and it's been effective.
Government
All
is
types
really
of
pushing that.
Yeah, all types of lesions. You know, crypto yo says they have. Yeah, you have ivermectin cream. Yeah, it's a very it's a very good cream, man. It works for almost any skin infection or skin problem. So just try it. Um,
Ivermectin cream. That's my first time hearing about that one, brother HERU.
yeah, ivermectin cream you can get at Walgreens, man.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
and if you want a stronger version, you can contact me and get it. You know. So here's what I want to do before. Is your caller calling in, brother Red Pill?
Yep. In about 5 minutes.
Okay. So what I want to do is I want to share with you all because I get customers coming to me all the time about lab tests and how they want to get certain tests and their doctor is not necessarily, forthcoming with having them, get the test because the doctor doesn't necessarily want to sign off on it. And so I just want you all to know that you are in charge of your body and there is no doctor who can tell you what test you can get.
That's
Okay,
right.
even though they try to.
Right.
Please understand that you know you have a right to get whatever test you want to get.
Mm-hmm.
There may be a question with your insurance companies paying for it, but what you find out is that a lot of times when you tell them that you don't have insurance, you know that the prices are actually cheaper. When you doing cash pay, it's cheaper than what they'll charge the insurance
Yeah.
companies.
That's right.
They
Self pay.
charge you on your insurance and your copay. So what I want to do is I want to show you all two websites where you can go. This is for people in the United States. If you're in the United States, I know we have a lot of international listeners, so just bear with me. If you're in the United States and you want, let's say, a vitamin D test, you literally can go to healthlabs.com. And that's where I get my vitamin D test. You don't need a doctor because what happens is that when you go to your doctor, right, your doctor is going to charge you for the visit and then write you the prescription. And then, for the permission slip, so called, for the test, when you can just get the test by yourself without having to pay the doctor,
Mm.
right? So your doctor's going to charge you $300-400 for the visit just to write you a script to go get a test, right? So they're double dipping. So if you want to avoid the double dipping, this is what you do. We just want to make this, we want to make this show very practical for people so that you learn how to solve your own problems. So here we go. You go to healthlabs.com. Everyone can see this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's just say a brother wants to get a prostate test. You don't have to go to your doctor to get a prostate test. You can actually go to healthlabs.com and put in PSA, which is the prostate test. You go find my test, and you're going to see where they have the prostate test. When you get the prostate test, you will see Here it is. You see it? PSA?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to show you all something. So you can get your PSA test for prostate cancer, right? You see how much it is?
$49.
It's $49. And all you do is you add it to cart and you put in your zip code and they tell you the closest place, usually within 5 miles to your zip code or in your zip code to your address. And you go there, you don't even need an appointment. And you can go get the test and you get the results within 24 hours. Okay? Vitamin D. I get my vitamin D test there because I get this test to test my products to make sure that my products are as strong as I need them to be before I sell them. So you vitamin D, I just put that in right there. You see that right there? This test
Yeah.
here, that's the vitamin D test. And it's $59. If you want to get a comprehensive vitamin test, you can do that as well. If you want to get, a comprehensive female wellness test, you can do that as well. So just about any test that you all want, you literally can go online here. You can get allergy testing, anemia testing, arthritis inflammation test, blood type and blood disorder test, cancer and tumor marker test, cardiac health test, diabetes testing. You can get drug testing, fertility, pregnancy test, gastrointestinal health test. All of this is listed here. And all of these tests are like pretty much under $100, y'all. And you get this without having to pay a doctor to write you permission to go get a test. Okay? So I've saved you all money just in the first 20 minutes of this show. Okay? It's just that a lot of people don't know. So you think that the only place that you can go to get approval to get a test is your doctor. And that's not true. You can completely bypass them and go get these tests yourself. And then you can look at, what the levels are. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to show you all where you can get scans without your doctors um, needing to be involved. So I'm talking about MRIs, PET scans, and all of that because sometimes you want to
Mhm.
get an MRI and the doctor says, "Oh, let's wait a couple months."
Right.
Okay. Um, Check this out. So you go here, Radiology Assist, radiologyassist.com. They allow you to go ahead and get an MRI. Does everyone see this?
Yeah, we got
CT
radiology.
scan,
Right.
ultrasound, X-ray, mammogram, which I don't recommend. I'd rather, you get an ultrasound if you're going to check for anything in your breast, ladies. Mammogram smashes the breast and causes problems. There's so many studies on that. You get a PET scan, which is the test that I advise instead of getting a biopsy. I advise you to get a PET scan. We don't want to disturb the tumor or break it apart, which ends up causing spreading. What we want to do is we want to get a PET scan um, to actually image to see where the tumors are. And the way a PET scan works is that they inject fluorodeoxyglucose, which is fluorescent radioactive glucose, into your body. And because sugar feeds cancer and cancer feeds off of sugar about 20 times faster than regular cells, um, it will eat the sugar in your body first, the cancer, and the tumors will light up because it's fluorodeoxyglucose. And then they'll put you through the scan, and anywhere where they see your body is lit up, that's where the tumors are. So it's a very, very, very specific test, and it's more accurate than an MRI. And you can get it online, and you don't need your doctor to agree to give you a PET scan or an MRI or anything. You literally can call them and you can set up you get an online referral. You get an online, you see, you can get MRI starting from at $265, y'all.
Yeah,
CT
that's
starting
hard to
at
believe, man. Here's
yeah,
the deal with this, man. You get these tests, CAT scans. These CAT scans run $2,000 to $3,000.
yeah. And they're
Be careful
overcharging
though.
people.
Yeah, they're overcharging. If you see the
Yeah.
doctor, then you send you out for testing. It's $2,000 to $3,000 or
Mm-hmm.
more for a CAT scan. Be
Mm-hmm.
careful with that because your insurance won't pay for duplicate tests.
Right. So, I mean, this is a serious thing, y'all. Um, I'm saving you all money, and I'm showing you that you don't, whether your doctor agrees with you or not, it is up to you. It is your final decision. Your doctor cannot stop you from getting a test. So you can just literally bypass them and go get whatever test you want to just see how you're doing. So if you've got cancer tumors, and let's say you're doing the herbal results protocol and your doctor's mad because you're doing the herbal results protocol and not doing chemo and not doing radiation, well, you can just go ahead and you ask them for a scan. They'll say no. And I've seen this happen with some of my customers. And so you don't need them to go see how you're doing with the herbal results protocol. You can just go get a scan whenever you want through Radiology Assist. You put in your zip code and they show you the place closest to your address where you can get it. And to be able to get it, you just set up a scheduling for an online consultation with a doctor, a virtual consultation here, right there. And then that doctor will give you the imaging order. And guess what it is? $40. A lot cheaper than what your doctor is charging you. Okay, for a doctor's visit. And this is online. So you just talk to them, they'll give you the order for the scan, and then you go and get the scan, and you can get an MRI as cheap as $300. Okay, and I mean, it's all on the website. So that's radiologyassist.com, and that's for the scans, and healthlabs.com for any of these tests, blood tests that you may need. Okay. I mean, just this information I've given you all today is value enough for this show. Okay. You've gotten life-saving, money-saving information in the first half hour of the show that you're not going to get anywhere else. And this is, I mean, this is information that's just out there and people just don't know. So you're paying thousands and thousands. Listen, I know people who travel. I know people who are traveling to China, Red Pill and Brother Anthony, to go get an MRI because an MRI in China plus the plane ticket is cheaper than getting an MRI in the United States. That's how
Man,
bad it is.
Easy.
man.
Yeah, easy.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're going to
Uh,
Mexico.
Yeah, they can go to Mexico. Some of people going to the Caribbean. It's just cheaper to travel. Costa Rica, it's cheaper to travel and go get a lot of these tests and scans plus the plane ticket and your hotel that you're going to stay is cheaper than actually going to the hospital here and getting an order for these scans. Even if you have insurance, you got co-pays you got to do and deductibles and all of that. And so people are saying, man, I can save a couple $1,000s just by going to Mexico or going to China or going to Kenya. I know people who've flown to Kenya in East, to East Africa to go get these lab tests and come back to the United States. You understand what I'm saying? And it's cheaper.
That's
You
crazy.
can you can get a round trip. You can get a round trip to Kenya from Atlanta or from New York for like $1,000 or $800 on a good ticket, right? And your MRI might cost you $3,000 in the States. And you go to Kenya and the MRI is like $100. The same MRI machine. So look at how much money you've saved. You've saved about $2,000 by just going to Kenya to go get your MRI test, round trip. And this is what's happening. Some people go to Thailand, as this person just said. So I mean, it's like people are literally leaving the United States to go get medical exams and medical tests. Um, you know what I'm saying? Someone says mammograms and yeah, I mean we can get into that. I'm not covering that today, but yeah, I mean I can send you so much information on mammograms being like problematic, and a lot of doctors talking about it. And you can just look it up. I would recommend you do an ultrasound and get a good radiologist who knows how to do an ultrasound well. You get the same without the mammogram smashes the breast and puts pressure on the breast. And if you've got a tumor, that's not good. Okay.
Right.
Um, and we can talk about it next show if that's something that people are interested in. We can talk about the science of mammograms and why a lot of even like conscientious doctors are against it. And I can play a lot of videos of certain doctors who are in that business saying that they don't recommend mammograms. We can get into all of that. But I just wanted to make sure that you all know that you are sovereign beings when it comes to your body, and you can get whatever test you want, you can get whatever scan you want, and you do not have to go to the doctor and pay them to write you a paper. You're paying them $300, $400, and then you're going to go pay a couple $1,000 for an exam for a scan that you can get for a couple $100 without a doctor's permission. And then you get this doctor's permission um, online virtually for $40, y'all. I just showed you all on Radiology Assist, okay? Um, so yeah, we're gonna get so yeah, some of the women are saying yes, please, and thank you for the information. Yeah, yeah, I can do that next week. We can look at the science of mammograms, and you can just see like what's being said about mammograms. You know what I'm saying? And someone says, yeah, I know a person that went to Turkey to do a surgery at a fraction of the cost would have been in the United States. Yes. If y'all don't know, people are leaving America to go get surgical and medical procedures for cents on the dollar with high tech, institutions in other countries. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Okay. Someone says yes to the mammogram discussion. Yeah. Okay. A lot of women are talking about it. PET scan. Yeah. PET scan is, you can do a whole body PET scan, y'all. Okay. Who will read the scans? The radiologist. So when you do the scan, a radiologist will read the scan, and they will. So when you get a scan, right? There's a section of scan called a narrative, and that's what you want to read. Okay, read the narrative. It'll tell you the size of the tumors and all of that. You just got to read the narrative. All right, that's the section there. And with a PET scan, in the narrative, if you have cancer, it will tell you evidence of metabolic activity. That's what it will say. And what they're saying to you, listen what they're saying when they say evidence of metabolic activity. When they say evidence of metabolic activity, that means that there's evidence that the cancer was eating the sugar. That's what it means. That's what evidence of metabolic activity means. And if you all don't know, like, you know, I'm just glad that we have this show and we can show people. Let me just show you all the relationship between sugar and cancer and why, if you get a cancer diagnosis, uh, you absolutely should stay away from sugar. But they don't tell you this, right?
Right.
So I'm going to share this with you. This is Stanford. This is not HERU talking. This is Stanford University. And for some of you all, you're seeing this for the first time. So I'm glad that you all are tuned in. We got a lot of people tuned in right now. And this is going to be life-saving information for you all. If you got a family member, you yourself are diagnosed with cancer, they did not tell you to stop eating sugar. But that to me is a big problem because of the way a PET scan works. And I'm about to show you all this. Okay? Check this out, y'all. According to Stanford, how PET scans work. Does everyone see this Stanford medicine?
Yep.
Okay, listen to this. What to expect during a PET scan, how PET scans work. This is Stanford medicine. A small amount of radioactive glucose, a sugar, is injected into a vein. The PET scanner takes a picture of where glucose is being used in the brain or the body. PET scanning utilizes a radioisotope tracer that is an analog to glucose, which is sugar, called fluorodeoxyglucose, FDG. FDG accumulates within malignant cells, that's cancerous cells, because of their high rate of glucose metabolism. Listen to what they're telling you, that this fluorodeoxyglucose, which is an analog of glucose, is basically glucose. It accumulates within malignant cells because of the high rate of which cancer eats glucose. That's what they mean by glucose metabolism. It says once injected with this agent, the patient is imaged on the whole body PET scanner to reveal malignant lesions, which is cancerous tumors, which may have been overlooked or difficult to characterize by conventional CT scan, X-ray, or MRI. So they're letting you know that a PET scan is actually more effective and more precise than a CAT scan, X-ray, or MRI. Okay? But the important part is they just let you know, and they just told on themselves, that the reason why a PET scan works is because of the fact that Malignant cells have a high rate of glucose metabolism. So whenever glucose is available in the body, the malignant cells, which is the cancer cells and the parasites, will grab the glucose first. And they even go further. Check this out. Because disease is a biological process and PET, positron emission tomography, is a biological imaging examination, PET can detect and stage most cancers often before they are evident through other tests. Cancer cells show up brighter in the picture because they use more glucose than normal tissues. Boom. Do you all see that?
Yeah.
So they're telling you that the PET scan only works because of the fact that they're injecting you with fluorescent glucose. And they're telling you that cancer cells show up brighter in the picture in the scan because they use more glucose than normal tissues. So then why is it that when you're diagnosed with cancer, they're not telling you to stay away from sugar? And as a matter of fact, they'll give you a box of a drink called Ensure when you leave the hospital, which is nothing but liquid sugar and vegetable
That's
oil.
right.
And if you're admitted into a cancer ward for morning, they're giving you Captain Crunch cereal, they're giving you
Mhm.
pancakes and syrup, they're
That's
giving
right.
you Jello, they're giving you donuts, they're
Right.
giving you pound cake, they're
Mhm.
giving you. The reason why I know this is because I've lived in a cancer ward for a month and a half
That's right.
with a relative. So none of what I'm saying is conjecture.
Right.
I've literally witnessed what they serve people for food in a cancer ward, which is nothing but sugar. But
That's
they
right.
just told you, let me just be clear. They have just told you that the reason why PET scan works is because of the relationship of cancer to sugar, where it metabolizes and eats sugar much faster than regular cells, even 20 times faster. So why is it that every single person who's diagnosed with cancer is not told to stay away from sugar? You're not told. And this is why people are having problems with reversing cancer, because every time they open their mouth, they're eating something that's actually feeding the cancer.
That's right.
And the medical system knows that cancer feeds off of sugar. That's why a PET scan works. A PET scan would never work if cancer did not feed off of sugar. So then
Right.
why is it that they're feeding you or letting you eat sugar? And feeding you sugar in a hospital ward. Okay, I believe we have our guest on. Bless up, Ariel.
Peace and love.
Peace and
Hey,
love.
how are
Peace and
you?
love.
How are
Peace
you?
and love.
I'm
Peace and
good.
love.
What's up,
How you
Brad?
doing?
I'm good. And what I want to do, I just want to cover one more thing, and then we're gonna have Ariel take over, and Red Pill can interview our guest. Okay. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you all and cover. So, this weekend, as I tell you all, I deal right now. I'm dealing with about 54 cancer patients, and they're on the herbal results protocol. And I got a call uh, on Thursday, and I spoke to the brother this weekend. This is a brother who came to me with stage 4 prostate cancer. So stage 4, for you all listening, means that it has spread from the local area where the original tumor was. Now it's spread to different parts of the body. That's what they call in stage 4 cancer, usually what is known as end stage cancer. Anyway, the brother called me this weekend to give me some good news. He originally called me in April. Literally, I have on my phone April 1st, 2026. And um, he had his prostate cancer has spread to different parts of his body, even to his neck. Okay. And he went ahead and did the herbal results protocol. And he let me know that so for you all to know, uh, in terms of prostate cancer, what they do is they give you what is known as a PSA test, which is a prostate specific antigen test to measure what's going on. And anything below 4 is seen as normal, anything above 4 is seen as risk for cancer. Okay. And to date, I'll meet brothers with a score of 7 or 8 or a score of 10, right? Another brother who's gotten a reversal recently, his PSA score was high as 47. Now, the highest that we've seen at herbal results that we've reversed is Crawford Peterson with 159. Now, let's put this in perspective. 4 is the threshold level. Crawford Peterson, who I'll show you here, and you all, if you've got family members with prostate issues, you're going to want to send them to herbalresults.net, have them look at the testimonials. So you'll see the case of Crawford Peterson on our website. Uh, and he's cancer free. He's been cancer free for the last few years from dealing with Herbal Results protocol. And this is him here, just to give you all a place where you can go and do your own due diligence. This is where you want to go, y'all. But I want to show you all this because I want you all to look at the numbers. So go here. You'll see several, you see on this website here, you'll see several prostate cancer reversals. But Crawford Peterson's PSA score was the highest of 150, which is damn near 40 times the threshold. Okay? But he did, he had stage 3 prostate cancer, and the tumors covered 97% of his prostate. He did the protocol for a few months, and his PSA went from 150 to 0.1 with no evidence of cancer anymore, no evidence of tumors. Okay? Now, that's a great story, right? But recently, I had this brother contact me, and I'm going to show you. He sent me yesterday his reports from his I guess his My Health portal. And I want you all to look at these numbers. I've never seen numbers like this ever. His PSA, are you all ready for this?
Yeah.
Um I'm about to share what he sent me. There it is, from his My Chart. I want y'all to look at this. Okay. His PSA was higher than 1,000.
Mm.
Like I've never ever seen anything like this before, but you
Wow.
all can see it. Are you able to see this?
Wow. Yeah, we see that. Never
Do you
seen it.
see?
Never heard of it.
Yes. And this is the brother, Egbert, out of St. Croix.
Man, 1,000.
Okay. He contacted me April 1st, 2026. So I'm about to show you all these numbers. And I'm gonna do a testimonial with him this week. So
Okay.
you all should be able to see the testimonial next week.
Excellent.
Okay, they tell you the normal range is 0.1 to 4. As I told you, anything above 4, they say a risk for cancer, right?
Right.
His was over 1,000 November 7th, 2025.
Wow.
Y'all see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
A month later, it went down. It was still high, and then it went right back up. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to give him some type of medication, and it didn't work.
Right.
So he contacted me on April 1st. He got another, I told him get another scan so we can see where you are. And on April 9th, he let me know it's above 1,000.
Mm.
He starts the protocol April 15th. Because after he contacted me, it took some time and got all the products. On May 1st, a few weeks later, he gets another PSA, and look at this. It drops to 395, right? Which is still crazy.
Right.
And then on May 28th, a few weeks later, it goes to 4.42, which is close to
Mm-hmm.
the normal level.
Right.
And then 2 weeks ago, he got another test, and look at the number,
It's amazing.
0.91. It went from 1,000 on April 9th. Remember, he contacted me on April 1st.
Right.
And 4 months later, we got it down to 0.91, where he is now cancer free.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you'll do the interview, but
Yes.
did he do the entire the protocol?
Yes, he did the
Okay.
entire protocol.
Got it.
Okay, and he's going to tell the whole story. But I just want you all to see, like, I'm just giving you all receipts. Okay? But in his case, I've never ever seen a
No,
PSA this high.
never seen that.
Ever. I've never seen a PSA as high as 395. But so this is to let you all know that when you go for the men out there, when you go and they tell you, oh, you got a PSA of 5, we need to take out your prostate. What
Right.
they don't tell you is that that 5 number is just one above the normal level, and they're just happy to take out your prostate, right? But when
Right.
they don't tell you that when they take out your prostate, you've got to wear diapers for the rest of your life, and you won't be getting an erection. Okay? But they don't tell you this information, and they scare you into it. But I'm just letting you all know that at Herbal Results, we've gotten reversals with people with PSA numbers as high as over 1,000 and have gone to 0.91 within 4 months. The evidence is there. You all can see it. I just put it there for you all. Okay. And the testimonials, I'll share it one last time. And we've got 2 new prostate cancer testimonials that I will be interviewing this week. Again, this is the chart of Brother Egbert out of the Virgin Islands. Notice he contacted me April 1st. On April 9th, his PSA was over 1,000. 4 months later, 0.91. And his doctors have nothing to say. Literally, they have nothing to say. And they showed no intellectual curiosity as to what he was doing,
As usual. Yep.
as usual. You would think that when they see these numbers, which is unprecedented in their medical, you know, experience, they would sit the person down and ask them every single thing that they did,
Right.
because this is not something that you just normally see.
That's right.
And the brother's prostate is still intact. Okay? So this is the evidence that we provided Herbal Results, y'all. Okay? And so any of you all got family members with any type of cancer, any type of whatever, just give Herbal Results a look and go look at the testimonials. And we're getting these reversals, y'all, for anywhere around $300 in terms of the products.
New standard. Yep.
And that's what we do it. We show week after week, we give you all this information. We show you all receipts. And that's just what it is. YouTube will try to ban this information where you all don't know this information. And so you're just like basically at the whim of these medical so-called professionals who are incentivized to give you surgery, chemotherapy, and those types of toxic things. And they don't tell you, because they're not trained in reversing any of these diseases with no toxicity or with pharmaceuticals. Okay. And so this is information for you all. And any further interest, I would ask you all before you contact me, please watch the testimonials, because most of the information is there. 99% of your questions will be answered by just watching the testimonials on herbalresults.net. Those of you all who are, asking about, the website, it's under my name on the screen. But, if you want me to put it on the screen right now, I will. And then we're going to commence to our interview with our special guest, who's been sitting there patiently. So this is it here. You're just going to go to herbalresults.net, y'all. I just put it there. herbalresults.net. And H. pylori. Yes, easy. So H. pylori, listen very carefully. Kiss Kelly. What you're going to do with H. pylori is trying to eliminate H. pylori. So what you're going to do, you're going to take a teaspoon, or actually you could take a tablespoon of unrefined virgin coconut oil, and you're going to add 20 drops of oregano oil. The oregano oil that I recommend is called P73 oregano oil. And this is it right here. You can get it on Amazon. You're going to take 20 drops. And you're going to mix it with the coconut oil. You must mix it with coconut oil, or the oregano oil will burn your mouth. Okay? You got to mix it to dilute it. And what you're going to do is you're going to take it twice a day. And usually for 10 to 14 days, it will get rid of your H. pylori. And this is what you're going to do. And it's all for the cost of about $40. Okay? This is it right here. I'm going to share the screen. This is the product that you want to get. And you want to get unrefined virgin coconut oil. Okay? Do you all see it right here?
Yep. On Amazon.
That's what you're going to get. $42. You're going to take 20 drops and mix it with a tablespoon of coconut oil and do it twice a day. Now, if for some reason that doesn't work, this is what you're going to add. You're going to add a product called mastic gum. Okay? And I'm going to show you the product that I would recommend, the brand that I recommend for mastic gum is going to be this here Jarrow's Formula mastic gum. Okay? So you're going to take, you can do the oregano oil with coconut oil first for 10 to 14 days. And that's 20 drops each time, twice a day, mixed with a tablespoon of coconut oil. And if for some reason that doesn't work for you, you're going to do the mastic gum. And you're going to do that for probably a month. And your H. pylori should be cleared up. That simple. Okay? That's it.
Right.
All right.
All
All
right.
right. So why don't we have Brother Red Pill go ahead and interview our special guest, Ariel.
Indeed. Thank you, my brother. Welcome back to the show, Sister Ariel. How are you doing today on this lovely Monday?
Peace and love, Red. Thank you for having me. All is well. Got me up a little early, but I'm good,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In my
Yeah, we
morning
put our
ritual, sitting in the sun, soaking up this life force.
indeed, indeed. I definitely wanted to bring you on specifically on this Monday show for healthy Mondays, healthy Monday results, right? Because you've been doing some very dynamic things with your products and your product line. And I wanted to introduce the family to you, to your products, and also give them the announcement that you will be in Brooklyn on Saturday, the 29th, all right, with our good brother Ross Ben. And not only will you be in the building with our good brother Ross Ben, you'll be bringing the science, you'll be bringing the products, and you also are going to be bringing something that everybody has been savoring because I even had a phone call from my mother, from my Umi, and she was asking me questions about it. The cacao drink that brother Uncle Hank Rising son, he got the whole community buzzing right now. He got on Brother Richard's show and he was talking about the relationship between tobacco and cacao, and people are like, I gotta try it. So I was in ceremony with you a few months ago, and in ceremony you prepared everybody some cacao. And ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you this cacao was something that I've never tasted before, it literally had me levitating. I promise you. So on Saturday inside of Brooklyn, New York, inside of Nicholas Bookstore, 1396 Fulton Avenue. We're going to be introducing the good sister, and just let everybody know what are these products that you have? What is these regenerative products, and what is the purpose of the product line?
Okay, well, once again, thank you for having me. Peace and love to your audience. Thank you all for listening and joining in. Um, I'm the founder of Angelic Alchemy and Elixirs. So it's not only just the alchemy, but it's the line of elixirs. Cacao is actually one of the first elixirs that I created and formulated, which, with the intention within my medicine is to just bring in a lot of nutrients and bioavailability and good fatty foods. When it comes to cacao, they say it take chocolate to make chocolate, right?
Yeah.
And cacao is just one of those things that it builds melanin, or it actually has the nutrients in it to help, like tyrosine and magnesium and a lot of the different minerals and nutrients that we naturally need. So along with that, a lot of the products that I offer are heavily focused on rebuilding the organs, regenerative medicine, nutrients, just being able to just not only purify the vessel, but more importantly, put back into the body. Because a lot of times it's not that you may necessarily have a lot of toxification. A lot of us have done a lot of work to detoxify the body, but our organs, they lack ATP, which is the currency of the cell. They lack mitochondrial power. They lack the ability to be able to, navigate with this terrain based on all of the different low grade quality foods that we eat. You can even eat a healthy diet and still not get the proper nutrients that your body requires. So a lot of the compounds that I create are focused on regenerating all your organs and increasing your metabolism. So that's pretty much the nature of my compound catalog. And I have about 25 different compounds at this particular moment that range everywhere from, increasing your um, liver function, your kidney function, your hemoglobin, and your, increasing your iron levels to increasing stem cell function by way of, getting in higher doses of D3 and, incorporating the magnesium in that in order to help that function better, as well as just increasing your bone density with things like K2 and all of the other cofactors that go in with that. So yeah, this is what we're doing, and it's actually showing to be very effective. So I'm grateful to be able to walk this path and share these beautiful medicines with you all.
Right, right. Okay, okay. Um, in terms of our people's quote unquote the type of nutrients that they're getting out of the foods that they're eating and the drinks that they're drinking and whatnot. What would you say is some of the most critical nutrients that the body is now malnourished against that they're not necessarily getting from their foods, from their drinks, and from the everyday American diet, right? What are some of the nutrients and the minerals that the body is not getting and is beginning to become a detriment to the human bodies and whatnot, to whereas people are breaking down or they're becoming severely dehydrated and malnourished?
That's a great question. The one of the first minerals that I will point out that could literally tackle a ton of different things is magnesium. Magnesium is responsible for over 2,000 different genetic functions in the body, 2,000 different enzymatic functions. It's also responsible for 90% of your ATP function in the body. So that's a really, really important and powerful um, supplement. I actually have it in liquid form. My magnesium is a really special kind of magnesium because it's liquid magnesium and
Mm.
it's considered pico magnesium. So pico, you have a lot of products out there that are nano, like nano silver, nano gold, nano things, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people are into this nanotechnology, but pico is actually at least 10 times, if not 100 times more smaller than a nano. So this is intercellular. When you get into the pico, you get into the underworld of your biology, and that pretty much allows everything to penetrate on an intercellular level almost instantaneously. Which is why this is one of the first things I take sometimes when I wake up. Like this morning, I woke up and I was just a little bit groggy because I probably didn't get to bed till like 2:33 in the morning because I've been just working constantly nonstop. So when I woke up, I was just a little bit feeling a little unbalanced, and I took this, and it just brought me online right away.
Right.
So drinking some good magnesium that'll go in on an intercellular level is really good for the heart. It's actually a capacitator, meaning that whatever you're doing as a regimen, it's going to increase the capacity of that because of the role that it plays in terms of its ability to have all of these different enzymatic functions going on at once. It's almost like the lubricant for the body or like the activator. Another one is D3. We're not getting enough sunlight, but D3 also helps us synthesize more sunlight. And as
Right.
melanin dominant beings, we need to be able to synthesize more sunlight because that is what's giving us, the light codes, which we transduce into intelligence, thoughts, ideas, creativity, physical currency in the form of whatever gifts that you came in the game with. It's going to come through the stream of these light codes being transduced through your melanin. But in order to bring in more melanin, you need to open up your photonic receptors to be able to receive more sunlight. We're in a quantum era right now. So right now, one of our main objectives and initiatives should be learning how to synthesize and bring in more light codes so that we can evolve at a more rapid pace versus just thinking that we're going to magically evolve because the sun is getting hotter. We have to meet the sun halfway, and that's predicated on what we put in our body and how we're actually leveraging this divine supercomputer vessel that is made of melanin.
Indeed, indeed. I have a question from the chat about the cacao. Somebody says not all cacao are good for my body. Which one do you have? Is there different grades or different variants of the cacao that you know of?
um within my brand, I've made it my business to shop with indigenous tribes from all over the world. So I get cacao from Africa, I get cacao from Peru, I get cacao from Brazil. You know, I get really exotic different brands of cacao that are really really good, and by the time you taste my cacao, trust me, your cells are going to be dancing with joy, because it's not just the cacao, it's the magic that I put. I'm an alchemist by nature. So when I make medicines, I stack different things, you know, like fatty oils and other nutrients and components to make the cacao extremely medicinal. And actually, the reason that I made cacao such a big deal in my ceremonies and with my clients is because my medicines, you know, they typically come with at least 15 to 20 ingredients per compound, and the average human body, even just on a regular diet, can't necessarily digest and break this stuff down without kind of getting their butt kicked and being set on fire a little bit, because it comes with a little heat, it comes with a low electric voltage. My medicines come with a charge. So
Right.
you have to have something that is a substantial delivery system that can actually house the compounds that I synergize within these compounds in order for your body to be able to synthesize it properly and digest it, and for it to be fully bioavailable. So we take the cacao, then we pop down on the PRR medicine, like the solar ascension or the crimson codex or the galactic greens, and then we end up having all of these different enzymatic functions going on, and you just naturally start to feel lighter, you start to move stagnant energy. And not only does this medicine work on a physiological level, but it also works on the energy bodies too, which sets my work apart from a lot of, you know, everyday folks that are into the holistic wellness, because we have to start addressing deeper layers of our existence. You know, we're not just this physical shell. We're actually, if anything, condensed light. We're
Right.
light that is so condensed that we actually appear physical. And that's what we're looking at. So we have to address the light body. And if we actually put that as a priority over addressing the physical body, you'll notice that a lot of these nuances or these issues that you may have, they kind of dissipate, because you're going to the source of your essence. You know,
Indeed.
it's the light body that actually gives instruction to the physical body by way of the endocrine system and the hormonal system, which is the software of the endocrine system. That's what gives instructions for your physical body to project itself in the way that it does or regenerate itself. So that's definitely a big deal.
Somebody wants to ask, do you teach healers to perform cacao ceremonies?
I haven't really been in a space of teaching um, cacao ceremonies yet. A lot of my work is a lot more complex than just the cacao ceremony. It is a gate opener, so you know it's something that you know I naturally open up my ceremonies with. But I would say on a ceremonial level, with if you come to the my Iboga mentorship program, that's something that we can delve into, and that's something that I teach within the space of giving people the full spectrum of lineage based Iboga medicine stewardship.
Right. So there's some things that I love to speak on the channel, and then there's some things that I kind of like wait to we're off of the YouTube streets because of their censorship. And I
Okay.
would love to unpack that Eboga situation with you, but I'm gonna let that we'll probably do that on Patreon, and we'll definitely speak on that in live in person when we do when we pop up in Brooklyn. We'll have that conversation. um what I would like to speak about is, you know, the need for people's temples and the need for people's bodies to have certain nutrients and certain minerals to accommodate them on their quote unquote plant based journeys. right? So for
Hmm.
people who are on plant-based journeys that take the medicine, what is your stance on having the body and on preparing our bodies with the minerals, with the nutrients, with these quote unquote compounds, so people don't go into quote unquote shock, or people don't have these negative adverse effects because their bodies are too weak or too quote unquote malnourished to to give them a proper result of the plant-based medicines.
Red pill, you cooking with this question. This is one of my favorite topics.
Yes.
To be honest with you, this is actually why I created the whole PRR system, which is called the plasma regeneration regimen. Because for years I have been a sacred medicine woman. I have been an advocate for, sacred plant medicines and these what I call fifth dimensional technologies. More so than it is a medicine, it is actually a technology. And if we can elevate our consciousness to see it as a technology, when we go into the space with these medicines, we'll get more out of it than just medicinal properties. We'll actually be able to explore it as a technology, but you need to be able to meet the medicine where it's at in order to explore it as a technology. And that means elevating the third dimensional vessel to a fifth dimensional state. And
Right.
that takes the proper supplements, nutrients, and minerals, because in order to house certain levels of cosmic intelligence, the vessel needs to expand, right? Because we're dealing with expansion, especially when you're
Yeah.
dealing with these fifth dimensional medicines. That's a part of that process when your auric field expands on these medicines, which is why through your third eye, your oculus, you'll be able to see into yourself. Instead of studying outside of yourself, you're actually studying on an intercellular level, this inner cosmo um, realm of yours, right?
Yes.
But with the proper nutrients, you begin to forge more light. You begin to eradicate the parasites, and you also get to, really strengthen these organs. So you'll have more to feed off of. Some people have really dark trips because all they have is darkness. Parasites lurk in darkness. And if you're not properly, getting enough sunlight, getting enough nutrients and enough minerals, you don't have the proper light codes in conjunction with the fact that you have a lot of toxicity. So there's a lot of things that you're going to run into, before you get to the lightheartedness and the light side of this work. You're going to end up seeing um, a lot of the darkness, a lot of the shadows, a lot of the density based experiences that you may have been looping on because you haven't been doing the internal work. And if you actually do the foundational work properly, you may find that you don't even need plant medicine like that. Because the ultimate goal is for us to be able to elevate ourselves and resurrect ourselves to the state that we don't necessarily need to feed off of, these plant medicines in order to really stand fully in our power 24/7. That's the goal.
Right. Indeed. I got a question from the chat. It says, your skin looks great. What are some things to intake or some skin oils to use to keep the skin tight as we age or lose weight to stop loose skin?
I mean, honestly, I think for me, you know, part of it is genetics, obviously, but um, what you're not really what you think you're seeing is not what it is. It's yes, my skin looks great, but you're actually seeing my blood. My blood is plasma, and my plasma is very bright. So because my plasma is so bright, it glows through my skin,
Right.
and that's what creates a beautiful skin tone. So purify your blood first, and then, what you can do is any oil you put on is going to slap at that point because you already did the inner work. The only way
Right.
out is in.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Give us a list of some of the nutrients and the minerals and the compounds that are part of your regenerative kit that you sell.
Okay, let me go in the house for that so I could kind of show you guys. I actually just put a kit together. Somebody just ordered one of my platinum kits. And, it's interesting because, I definitely service the community on the retail side, but um, I'm your favorite medicine woman. So a lot of medicine women come to me and they purchase my kits as a toolkit for their business to share these medicines with their clients because from just taking two of these capsules, you feel it so deeply. So we
Right.
could actually do a quick little rundown on some things because I actually put together. I got a few more to put in there, but
Okay.
I could show you guys some stuff. Let me turn my camera around. Do I have the ability to do that? Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had to plug my phone in anyway, but let me see. Trying to see if there's a way. Back camera.
Yeah, the
Okay,
back.
here we go. All right. So this was like the first. This was the first
Solar Ascension.
compound. Yes, solar ascension. So this is coming with a lot of B vitamins. The main thing is the D3, the K2, and the magnesium, which is a beautiful trifecta. That's going to really activate a lot of the killer T cells, a lot of the stem cells, bone regeneration, organ rebuilding. This was actually one of the first compounds that I took that actually brought my organ function from 75% to 98%, which I posted that publicly. This is a really good compound for all of that. And again, this is going to help you when you're sitting in the sun. It's going to help you pull in more light codes.
Yeah.
So that's this is like the star um parasite purge. This is one that people really love. I kind of want to start changing the names of these things because I don't want to speak to the symptoms. I want to speak more to the actual benefits of these things. But the parasite purge is actually coming with clinical grade dewormers. Y'all know about the ivermectin class. Anti-parasitics. So this has stuff like ivermectin, albendazole, fabendazole, mebendazole, things like that. And it's also got some spice. Of course, I make my medicines with a lot of spice. So, you want, like a really high heat signature of cayenne. And what that does is it induces a natural fever into the body. Fever is one of the
Don't,
oldest.
don't leave
Um,
out that niacin. I'm sorry.
Say what?
Don't leave out that niacin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna get to that because that's a big deal too. And so I'm gonna drop a really heavy piece for y'all. But real quick, let me pull up my chair so I can get comfortable when I'm talking to y'all about this. So, I got some Japanese, some Asian wine over here, some Baju Chu. That's pretty good stuff too. There's some herbal medicinal wine. I'm into some really exotic stuff. Now, so with the cayenne pepper, a lot of these compounds have cayenne pepper in it because again, we gotta raise our kundalini, we gotta raise our fever capacity. And what these do is they induce fever in the body. Remember, fever is the oldest mechanism the body has in order to combat free radicals and parasites and all those things.
Right.
If you really want to know the secrets of the universe and how your body works, how everything works, you just can compare and you can mirror systems in the cosmos. Like
Yeah.
you can mirror the primordial realm with the third dimensional realm and the subatomic realm in order to understand how things works. So right now we're in a phase in this space-time continuum where the planet is heating up. It's no secret. They call
Right.
it global warming because they want us to be afraid, but we're the actually ones that benefit from global warming because we're built to handle the heat. And as the heat rises, Mother Earth is able to purge all the parasitic energies off the planet, and it brings us into a higher dimension. Well,
Right.
as above, so below, as within, so without. This is a cosmic law and principle. So you can apply that to the body. When you put heat in the body, heat rises.
Right.
So naturally, you raise your vibration. Naturally, you get rid of parasites. Naturally, you expand because heat is also an expanding capacitator. So that's
Right.
why we deal with the heat component. It literally brings chi, life force, and prana into the body on an intercellular level. That's where the niacin comes in because niacin. That is also a really big secret to ATP. Niacin is like electricity inside the body. And if
Right.
you notice, a lot of my compounds, this is my latest one that I just released, Mighty Conjure, and everybody's in Atlanta's going crazy about this right now because off of 2 pills, they was channeling their ancestors. They was reverse aging. A lot of things, this is the age for this type of stuff to come online. But you see the 2 fire bolts or the 2 fire emojis and the 2 lightning bolts is showing what you putting in your body. You putting currency in your body. These are wealth codes in the form of the primordial elements,
Right.
which is literally what our ancestors are. Our original ancestors are literally go back as far as the elements themselves. So when you dealing with things like cordyceps, she legit, ubiquinol, PQQ, these are mitochondrial capacitors, which makes this a mitochondrial compound capacitator. And when I heard the name mitochondrial, I said, damn, that sounds like the mighty conjure because the
I
black
love the
woman,
play on words.
yeah, it's all there. The secrets is all there. All we have to do is remember who we are, remember, our power because it's no secret. Everybody knows that the black woman gave birth to humanity via her mitochondrial DNA. If
Yes.
that's the case, that means we created this entire reality. And the weight and the gravity behind that as a science, we're not leveraging to the degree that we should be
Right. I
based on
agree.
that fact alone. Correct?
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So if that's the case, we need to tap into that chaos magic, which is the mighty conjuring
Mm.
based on our genetics. And this compound was created with that intention and that
Right.
understanding and that channeling behind it. Another big deal is for us to regulate our nervous system. That is a really, really, really important thing for us to do right now because if
I was just about
everybody's
to ask you about that. That's crazy.
yeah, hey man, me and you, we had this thing where we always tapped in on the same wavelength because we've been doing the work. We've been psychically
Right.
tuning up. It's just no different than a car, right? If you have a car that is a bucket and it's loud, when you're driving down the street, you can't hear anything but the bucket.
Right.
It's so
Right.
loud and you're hearing it in a, disruptive way. But when you really get a tune up and you do all the work on the vehicle the right way, then not only are you able to hear the car, but you could literally hear outside the car. Some cars are so quiet, you could hear a squirrel running across the street, or you
Mm.
can hear a rat pissing on cotton, as they say, right?
Right. Right.
So that's where the higher faculties come in when you balance and regulate the nervous system so deeply to where your body, your vehicle so quiet. Now you can hear the voice of the divine. You can hear the voice of the most high, your ancestors, your guides, or whoever it is that you feel is your higher source, right? That's the
Right.
goal. That's what we want to get to. Divine digest. Let's talk about this. Um, betaine is a really important enzymatic um, capacitator for the gut biome. Um, this particular compound, it has a lot of different things. Turmeric, that's another one. Working with turmeric extract. Hey, how you doing? Um, Working with of course a little bit of cayenne in this as well as a little bit of niacin of course, but there's just a lot of different compounds. I can't give you all the secrets, but this one is the one of the first that you start out with because you want to be able to um you know increase the gut bioavailability
Right.
before you actually get to any of these other other compounds. You want to condition the gut, and before you even condition the gut with taking a enzyme capacitator, you want to be able to clean the gut out from not just the colon. People talk about getting colonics and stuff like that. Colonics, it's cute, but it's not really hitting on much, because you're just going in and you cleaning your colon out. Your entire intestinal tract includes the colon, and it's the length of a football field. And you've been eating stuff and not really doing a full cleanse, like while letting it rest for however long you've been living, I'm sure, for a
Right.
lot of people. So you want something that's going to go in and going to clean the gut from the top, from the moment you swallow it in, and go all the way through and clean it all the way out until you're pooping clear water. That's achievable. And that's
Right.
a cleanse that I suggest people do. That's called the Celtic salt cleanse. We don't have to spend too much time on that, but I give instructions with my kit. You can also look that up online, the Celtic salt cleanse. It's a really simple and affordable cleanse that you can do if you can't afford stuff like this. And I'm telling you, you do that cleanse every day, you're gonna poop 5 to 7 times a day.
I have some questions from the chat real quick before we continue, right?
hmm
Is there a shelf life for the products? That's the first one.
That is a great question. There is a shelf life for the products. Um, but I would say, even if you've had the products for 2 to 3 months, they're still usable, because they're
Right.
so loaded. They're so rich with nutrients that even in 2 months, you're still going to get more out of this than you get out of your average herbal kit. So
Yes.
I literally got stuff that, like, maybe I would say went beyond the shelf life, and I tried to throw them away, and some of my friends snapped like, "Are you kidding me? No, give it to me." And came back a week later and like, "Man, that stuff's still hitting." And I'm like,
Right.
"Wow, I had it in there for 2.5 months." So yeah, it has a shelf life, but this stuff is, you're not gonna find the level of compounding in these products that you'll get anywhere.
Another question. Can you take it without capsule?
Yes, that's an excellent question. It's
Yeah.
actually better to take them without capsules. And some people place orders with me where they get the actual powder. And that's
Okay.
actually the best way to do it. You can add it to soup, you can add it to tea. If you can handle it like that, it's going to be way more bioavailable.
Okay. Let it absorb on the tongue.
No, I would say just swallow it down, just drink it down. The magnesium, you want to put it under the tongue and let it dissolve. If you order this magnesium arcana, which if you get a kit, it's going to come with that. These compounds typically go for 111 a piece. Some of them are 222 because they're more advanced, but
Right.
they're between, like, I would say 80% of the product line is 111 a compound. So if you're like, I don't know if I could afford a kit, or I don't want to necessarily get in too deep, I want to test the waters, you could just order one compound and it's going to come with a 30-day supply for 111.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Question. Which products does the sister have help with the nervous system? I know that you did touch on that a minute ago, but which products help with the nervous system?
Oh, that is a great question. The mitochondria definitely helps with the nervous system.
Right.
It's overall, I'm gonna read the caption for you in terms of the function. This is the mother of biogenetic sovereignty. Mitochondria fuels mitochondrial energy, regulates the nervous system, enhances cognition. It also awakens higher faculties. It ignites intuition, prophetic accuracy, stamina, and vitality, while supporting normal balance, DNA repair, and cellular regeneration, rooted in ancestral wisdom and sacred, and I'm sorry, and backed by modern science. It's kind of tiny size, so forgive me, y'all.
Right.
This compound activates your biological potential at the highest level. So yeah,
Wonderful.
so yeah, this is a good one. I have some fifth dimensional medicines that also regulate the nervous system. The magnesium arcana, Definitely regulates the nervous system. I just actually needed some of that this morning because I felt like my nervous system needed a little bit more of a quick regulation. This is like the quickest and easiest way to regulate your nervous system with the magnesium. But if you take the magnesium arcana and you stack it with the mighty conjure,
Yes.
that's like the dynamic duo. A lot of these things work synergistically as well.
Right.
So sometimes I might say, you know what, I'm gonna take the magnesium, then I'm gonna take some mighty conjure, then I'm gonna go over here and take some solar ascension in order to boost the solar ascension. Or if I want to boost the crimson codex, which is dealing with fortifying the blood, building the liver and the kidneys, I'll take the mighty conjure with the crimson codex and then using the magnesium to help these two, coalesce better.
Fine. Right. Right. Okay. I noticed throughout your presentation you didn't bring up any herbs, and to the untrained eye, one may feel that you are herbalist. Is there a distinction in what it is that you're doing in the compounds that you're offering with the typical herbologist?
Absolutely. And that is a excellent question. See, I love being on this show because y'all asking all the right questions.
We
Y'all are
study.
definitely not an unseasoned crowd. And I
Yes.
love that about your audience because not only you, but like your audience, y'all like definitely tapped in. So here's the thing with me, I started working with fifth dimensional medicines that deal with the light body. That's how I kicked off my journey.
Yes.
So naturally for me, the herbs just wasn't, I kind of like didn't really see too much in them, especially because I was learning how to take herbs like the mimosa hostilis and
Yeah.
crystallize it into the crystal that we know that is in the pineal gland. I'm not going to say no names, but you all know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
So because
Starts
I
with a
knew
D.
that, huh?
It starts with a D.
Yes.
Three letters in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Divine master teacher. That's what we call it.
Okay.
So
Divine master teacher.
yes. So I learned how to alchemize the divine master teacher from the Mimosa hostilis, which is a root bark, back in 2019. And that science basically showed me how to take a bark and turn it into a gold, beautiful crystal.
Okay.
So naturally, because it's a spiritual journey, to how they tell you like being a mycologist kind of like opens up your psyche and kind of like just it advances your ability to perceive things and like opens up your higher faculties, right?
Right.
Well, the divine master teacher is like that on steroids. So I literally realized throughout that process that taking this bark and then turning it into a crystal and then purifying that crystal, that this is a science that could be applied to the human body. So I started becoming passionate about crystallizing the human body. And the main secret to that is just understanding that pressure makes diamonds. It's a science of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So the pressure of heat, the pressure of extreme cold, that's also electromagnetism, right? Because the heat is the electricity and the coolness and the coldness, which is a feminine principle, is the magnetism. That's why they say women attract and we magnetize because we the cool, we the feminine.
Right.
And when you're dealing with this science, the crystals, they magnetize to the bottom when when you put them in a cold setting, but when you put them in a hot setting, they rise to the top. So you're
Right.
learning about electromagnetism, you learn about all these different things, and you're learning about the potency of crystallization. So I was just saying to myself, well, what about all these herbs that people are dealing with? If they're saying that this herb does that, or that herb does that, what if I took that herb and I crystallized that herb?
Right.
Not to say that it's the full science, because it doesn't necessarily have the full spectrum, but I could go ahead and I could take the extract of that herb and then mix that in with the crystal, and that will be a more potent blend because it'll still have a lot of the alkaloids and the fats of the original bark, along with the more potent oomph, which is the crystallization. So that's what this separates me from a lot of herbalists, is that A lot of the things that I work with are crystal when it comes to the extracts within the herbs, as well as the supplements and the nutrients and the minerals. I deal with a multitude of different kingdoms beyond just the herbal kingdom. But when I do get to the herbal kingdom, I know how to, alchemize those herbs into more potent, expressions, which is what's necessary at this time, because we are in a age where, you know a lot of these herbs is just not enough to combat what we're up against. And
Right.
it's a beautiful thing that, a lot of people look at a lot of stuff that's going on as evil, nefarious, and dark, which yes, it is, but it's invoking the power of our divinity to come forth and express itself as a counter to that. So this is how the
Right.
universe
Right.
moves itself forward. And that's why we have here ancestral tools for quantum transformation.
Right. Okay. Dr. Manhattan type shit, huh?
We got to level up. I see myself as an avenger. You feel me? I'm
Right.
I'm a hood avenger, because I'm
Right.
like, all right, well, how do we answer to that? That's what they say when they talking in sports, right? Like basketball, like, well, who has an answer to this dude?
Right.
Angelic
Yeah.
alchemy can answer to this.
Nah, that's dope. That's it's like a Superman kit right there.
You feel me?
A
I
super
say.
HERU activation box right there. You
Ashe. And
feel
then
me?
the colors is representing, the light codes of our world, our natural mother Gaia matrix, and the father Ra, because the most divine masculine principle in nature that we can identify is the sun, which is
That's
the
right.
bright yellow, but that's also the gold, which is the alchemy, right?
Yes.
And then the
Ancient
teal.
aura is gold.
Right. And then when you're looking at the teal, that's we dealing with the earth, which is green, and the water, which is blue. And when you mix the earth and the waters, you get teal. So we
That's
dealing
right.
with the elements of nature here. This is our, this is our thing.
That's not right. Because I did notice that the pills are color coordinated. You do have some
Yes.
very vibrant colors. Is it aligned with the colors of the chakra perhaps?
Yes,
Um,
it's aligned with the colors of the chakra, and interesting enough, it's also aligned with, the hormonal system, which is the endocrine system, which is representing the physical body. Like your
right,
solar plexus is your gut, right? That's
right,
orange. You feel me? Your heart is green. That's where you
right,
got the equilibrium in the galactic greens.
right,
The crown chakra is purple. Dragon fruit is like a purple. You see what I'm
right,
saying? You can't make this stuff up. It's all in alignment. Nature does not lie. Crimson Codex is red. That's for the blood.
right. Right. That's what I'm saying. It's nature is not difficult, ladies and gentlemen. It
Yes.
should not be it should not be a tongue twister. It should not be a head buster. When it's dealing with nature and it's in alignment, it is literally in alignment, right? It doesn't confuse you. I do have some more questions that I will ask. They want to know, is anything for the children? You have parents that are curious.
Everything is for the children. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You
Right.
know, you just might need to give them smaller doses, but absolutely give this to your children. And this is actually safer to give them than herbs, because, herbs you can only take for so long before they, affect your they affect your organs in a negative way. You don't
Right.
necessarily want to, continuously just take herbs that are, bringing down your organ function, but this stuff you can take as long as you need to, as long as it's building your organ function, which it does.
Right.
Right. Oh yeah, and I wanted to say something real quick on what you were saying, because that was beautifully expressed. Nature is simple. This stuff, it shouldn't be rocket sciences. And the way our ancestors worked is that they express things through the simplification. Your genius is measured by how much you can actually take something complex and simplify it for everyday people to understand.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm gonna share your website real quick while you're speaking, because there are some questions about the site. And
Okay.
okay, brother Heru. Oh man, I might. All right, let me share that physical site in the chat. because brother HERU, um, he had to dip and he's in control of the back office. So angelicalchemy.net, ladies and gentlemen, that is the website, angelicalchemy.net. Before we reach Saturday, we will have a show with the sister. She'll be back on, and it'll be topic based. You know what I mean? I just wanted to introduce everybody to her today. But we do have a show that we're putting together that's going to be very powerful. All right. And the website is in the chat. Uh, Let me go back to the questions. Somebody wants to know, what is the purge pack? Do you have a purge pack?
The purge pack is a trifecta, or it could be four compounds. Um, the first purge pack I would call the parasite purge kit. So that's gonna come with the parasite purge. It's gonna come with the crimson codex. Cause see, this is the thing. I've been talking about ivermectin for some years.
Yes.
However, it's becoming a new thing because everybody's starting to realize that we was right when we was talking about it, and starting to blow up on social media because people talking about how they can cure cancer and all these things. But the part that people not talking about is that it does have the capacity to lower your enzymatic function in your liver and your kidneys. What they will tell you is that it could cause kidney damage or liver damage.
Right.
However, all that is just code for you need to increase your enzymes within your liver and your kidneys to be able to process this.
Right.
So look at your body kind of like you would look at um contracting work. Like, let's say, you're a contractor and you got a house that you want to, build, or you want
Build
to fix
together.
up.
Right.
You're going to need three main things. You're going to need the workers, you're going to need the materials, and you're going to need to cut a check to get the job
Right.
done.
Right.
So the workers are your cells and your organs and all the things in your body that's already there. The workers are already on the site.
Right.
The material is a lot of the things, let's say with the parasite purge, the clinical grade dewormers. That's the material that's going to remove all the mold, the fungus, the parasites, the foreign radicals, the free radicals, right?
Yes.
But they need a check. The workers in your body, they need energy, especially because these parasites went in there and they co-opted your whole, they done gentrified your whole body on the intercellular level,
So
and
they
they're not trying
squatting
to leave,
on your
so
site?
you need strength. You need to empower your system, and you do that with the crimson codex. And the crimson codex is basically going to deliver a lot of ATP to
Right.
your liver and your kidneys by way of all of the things. And this has some really good stuff in it. I use animal products with some of my stuff. Let me see. Can't show y'all all my stash, but let me see. We got different substances that come from bovine, right? Which is
Right.
the cattle. So let me show y'all real quick. Back camera. This is to build your spleen. This is one
Okay.
thing our ancestors did. They never threw away any parts of the animal. They use all parts of the animal. For the
Right.
women that's dealing with ovarian cancer or issues with their womb, we got the
Right.
beef ovarian substance. We just got we have different enzymes based on different parts of the animal that go in and correct different things. We got stuff for the thyroid. These are just one portion of some of the things that we use to build the enzymes within the liver and the kidneys and all of these different organs, as well as just build the iron in the blood. You
Right.
need a lot of iron, but you also need copper. You need magnesium. You need zinc. You need all of your minerals to really be able to come in and help your organs to just reinvigorate themselves and re-energize. This is another reason that we use the cayenne pepper and
Right.
the niacin, because it helps stuff move. Now, if you could actually work out, if you could exercise in conjunction with taking all of these supplements, it's gonna just amplify it that much more, because motion, remember, everything, you need pressure if you want to really see transformation. You need to
Right.
apply pressure, and that's a word that we hear a lot when we hear it in the dating world and different things. Applying pressure, you
Right.
need to apply that science of pressure to your body in order
Right.
to see your body elevate, if you want to see results, instead of just having to take something for a month and a half before you see you know a little bit of results. You can actually see a lot of results within 5 to 7 days if you actually approach it correctly.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I can see it. I can see the picture that you're painting in that sense. I was thinking squats and
So,
push-ups.
I guess I'll keep going. Um, yeah, I want to tell y'all, you have a kit that comes with this, because my base kit is the copper tier, and it's $444. It comes with 5 different compounds. You get an actual pill organizer that's actually showing all the colors of the chakra systems and everything, so that you can organize your pills
Check, check.
within your kit. So it's a pretty beautiful setup and arrangement. Um, Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. I actually recently just sold out of a lot of stuff. So this week I'm actually in the process of restocking a lot of my compounds. Um, just to go back into what I was saying about the parasite purge kit. So it's going to come with the parasite purge. It's going to come with the Crimson Codex, in order to rebuild all your enzymes and keep them at a really high function, so you could take as much of that as you want to without it damaging any of your organs, and actually still elevating your organs in the midst of actually going through a purge that intense. But then lastly, you need a binder. You want to be able to bind up all the toxins that the parasite purge is pushing out. Another
Right.
secret about these clinical grade dewormers that I actually love is that they actually, the way that they work is, when they go inside your body, they break down the bodies of the parasites. They actually go in and they rip out the sugar out of the bodies of the parasites, and that's how they die.
Right.
So this is why ivermectin is so good to deal with cancer. Like the brother Heru was speaking to earlier, if you're dealing with, any kind of cancer, you have to cut out sugar. Well,
Right.
ivermectin goes in and it naturally rips out all the sugar out of the parasite's body, but you still need a binder to go in and purify those things. This isn't to say that you should just go ahead and just take this stuff and keep eating sugar. You want to be
Right.
able to quantum leap, then you cut out the sugar while using something like this parasite purge, and it'll actually do double time for you. Now, there's different kinds of binders out there. I have a binder, I have 2 different kind of binders, and one of them is called the Diamond Detox. That's more of a classic binder. That's going to come with stuff like the activated charcoal, diatomaceous earth, the zeolite, the humic fulvic acid. It's going to come with a lot of different things that are just kind of more on that classic line of detox and binding. But you also have the galactic greens. This is a binder that is more micronutrient based. Um, it's got phytoplankton in it, chlorella,
Hello? Check, check, check. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Check, 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 check. Let me know if you can hear me. The sister will tap right back in. She probably lost her signal. Check, 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 check. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. All right. Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, man. The information was coming. It was flowing.
yeah. Oh
There
yeah,
you go.
but yeah.
Are you
Just
back in
wanted
the
to
building? Hold on, sis.
okay.
I don't see your camera. I hear you though. I don't see your camera. There you go. All right.
Okay.
All right, you back. You back. I wasn't nervous. I knew that there was a little signal
Yeah, they was blowing
interruption.
me up. They was blowing me up. You know, they hearing me. You know, a lot of us are so connected etherically that like people can feel when your energy's high or when you're in a space where you just giving and you know
Yes.
you putting out, and so they be wanting to tap into
It's all
that.
good. It's understood. Um, I do have a few questions. I don't want to miss out on these questions. They have some great questions. Julian said, "Can we catch the family up on supplementation, if not already? How we receive nutrients? In my opinion, as a collective, we have to find our baseline, how we operate optimally on a day in and a day out."
um. Okay. So you're saying like is he asking like what modalities should we be doing tapping into beyond just supplementation?
Yes.
Okay, got you. Yeah, honestly, there's certain practices that you can use to raise your energy. Breath work is excellent. One of the things that I like to do is a style of Kriya yoga, and this is something I teach in my workshops and in my ceremonies, where I teach people how to hold a posture, do a particular prayer, while using a breath work and working the upper and lower dantian, while also meditating and balancing principles in their psychic force. And if you're able to do this, meaning sing a particular mantra that has, you know, ups and downs and brackets of stances that it's chanted in, along with breath work, along with posture, along with psychically envisioning and holding a vision, as well as just being able to invoke the presence of these primordial forces through this prayer, you'll be able to go out in life and handle anything on an everyday basis way better, you know. And that's one thing that I will say that my brand is heavily focused on. Me in particular, in this particular lifetime and timeline, um, a lot of my work is heavily focused on supplementation because, you know, when I was 25, my mother passed away. She passed away due to complications from diabetes, right?
Yes.
And it broke my
Condolences.
heart because I was young, I was defenseless, and I didn't really know how to um really, you know, defend my mother and assist my mother. So I watched pharmaceutical, you know, the medical mafia and the pharmaceutical, you know,
Yeah.
warlords just tear her apart until she literally begged for her life to end before she checked out. But because
Mm.
of the type of the way my energy's set up, you know, I don't grieve like a normal person grieves. My grief is a war cry. So, like I said, it turned me into an avenger. And I said, you know what? This is how I'm gonna avenge my mother's death. I'm gonna create some compounds that are going to activate our DNA to where we will never need to rely on this system again. So that's my primary focus. That's my walk. That's my job. That is what I'm here to do. But I
Right.
also do understand the importance of, um, you know, utilizing modalities as well. Now, this is what my brand is, just so y'all can see my logo. You have
Yeah.
the DNA helix and the two wings of ascension, right? One of
Yes.
these wings is based on supplementation, you know, fifth dimensional medicines, all of that, the physical, you know, medicines. This other wing is based on the modalities. So you got medicines and modalities, the modalities of prayer, meditation, you know, breath work, all of those kind of things. And we're still developing these things. This wing might be a little bit stronger than this wing, but this wing definitely got some smoke for you too. So when you come to ceremony, we're gonna hit you with that right wing smoke.
Woo, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's the father. That's the
Sir,
masculine
no, I'm
discipline.
just saying when you brought up ceremony, and I've been privy to being in one of your ceremonies for the Ebo, and I'm just letting the family know that I've been to many of ceremonies, and the sister ceremonies are intense, but they are very effective, right? it's done with love. Like I said it before, and I'm not just capping. Your ceremony was one of the best ceremonies that I attended because of the structure, the ambiance, and just the intensity. Like you wasn't playing, you know what I mean? You came the minute you came in there, it was like, yo, this is what we all gonna do. And it was an amount that I've never done before, but because the setting was so it just felt so familiar, it was like, let's go, let's do it. And you know what I mean? And the cacao, you prepared cacao for us in the beginning, and that cacao settled my nervous system, and just it was almost like a comfort food. It made me feel so relaxed. So everything that came after that was just like I wasn't resistant to it. I was welcoming all of the whole entire regiment. So I'm just throwing that out there for anybody who may be listening, that the sister performs at a very high level in ceremonial plant-based practices and whatnot. She's definitely one of them ones. But continue, please.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. That actually another thing that answers the brother's questions too. The cacao is excellent on the nervous system. A lot of people were asking in the comments about the nervous system too. So, it's something simple, but something very powerful. And it's actually like a whole meal replacement. You have a nice little cup of cacao, you could go on about your day and you'll be nourished for like that whole entire day. Um, but don't forget, don't sleep on the tiger nut either, because I made that elixir, and I think y'all love that one too.
Oh, for sure. The tiger nut. I'm gonna bring that question up in a minute, but yeah, that was fire too.
Yeah, that one give you strength. So, I normally come in like if we do like a 4-day ceremony, I'll normally come in like halfway through the ceremony when we're about to dive in deep on another round a following day. I'll give y'all like the tiger nut. So, because the tiger nut's gonna give you a lot of strength. It's gonna help you persevere through that. Because a lot of times when we go deep on these medicines like this, we can't really eat any food. We'll have a rest day. And those rest days we'll feast. We'll eat some really good stuff. I'll cook some really good medicinal food that's highly nutritious, that'll mirror the cacao in terms of the quality. But on the rest days, we'll just have a nice little cup of, tiger nut or cacao, and it'll load us up with the minerals and nutrients. And then we'll be able to go in. That way, you don't have to worry about throwing up everything you just ate, and your body's light, but it's nutritious, and you don't have to worry about getting, like you say, hit with that shock, hit with all of those different challenges that a person may be hit with if their body is not conditioned properly. So these elixirs condition the body on so many different levels for the
Right.
work that we do, and that's really important. So no excuses, y'all.
Right. We got a few questions, man. You got people's minds going right now, and that's a good thing. If someone is on heart medications and thyroid meds, would the parasite cleanse or any of the kits counteract with prescription medication?
um, I would say this. You know, I typically don't recommend people serving two masters. If you want to choose this path, surrender to this path, really try to get off of those things so that you can take these things, because nature doesn't like to necessarily coalesce with parasitic things, and those typical things that they serve you and that they give you, they don't mesh well with this. you know they
Right.
can't exist in the same space, so you got to pick a side. You need to decide if you want to just do the pharmaceutical thing, or you want to actually rebuild your organs and increase your life force, and have all the things, because the parasite stuff, that's great. But again, you more so need to work with all of the compounds that rebuild your organs and rebuild your mineral content and all of the ATP in your body. Then you can go in with the parasite stuff, and it'll be easier to eradicate those things after you kind of strengthen your body.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that one. Um, is cacao only good for earlier in the day, or is it good for later in the evening as well?
I mean, I take it anytime during the day. I wouldn't, my only caution with cacao is don't just be taking it multiple times a week because it does have some sugar in it. So it's not something that we take all the time.
Right.
But I try to make it in a way that it's not like, I use natural sweeteners like maple syrup and honey, but I try not to make it too sweet. But at the same time, I make it to where it's something that you can enjoy, but you don't want to just be taking cacao like 3 times, 4 times a week. Maybe once a week tops.
Oh, is that intense?
In terms of just to avoid the sugar. If it wasn't for that, if you could drink it with like very minimal sugar, you could have it as many times a week as you want because it builds your melanin, it builds your bones, it builds your organs, it does a lot of things.
Right. And it's somewhat of a bitter taste, I don't even know what to subscribe to the taste. I don't even know what to say because
So mine wasn't too sweet.
no, yours was sweet enough. You feel me? Yours,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
perfect. It was balanced.
it was balanced. It's definitely balanced. I was speaking more of the raw cacao. When I had it in
Oh,
Colombia, somebody gave me the bar of cacao, like a
yeah.
chocolate bar, and it was like very raw. It had no sweetening in it.
Yeah, now you can eat that as much as you want because that's just cacao is a superfood. So on its own, you can have it as much as you want. It literally is a superfood. But when you go to adding sugar, that's when you want to pace yourself with
Okay. All right. Awesome.
it.
Next question is, what's good for the nervous system like anxiety, staying calm and having a great mood?
I would say go with the fifth dimensional medicine. If you need something a little more potent than these, then you want to go with the purple heart plant from the Black Panther movie. And that's the one that we've been speaking on. That's the root bark medicine.
Okay. Root bark medicine. I have a question about longer erections. Somebody wants to know what is good for that, for men's progeny and their quote unquote um their vitality.
That's a great question. I have a few things for that. The
Okay.
mitochondria is, again, that's a general capacitator, but I have men and women hormonal compounds. For the men, I have the cosmic dragon. There's another one called primordial seed, but I just haven't mixed that one down yet because I've been working through, keeping so many other things stocked. However, the cosmic dragon will definitely increase, blood flow to that area. It'll increase your libido. It'll increase all things in that area in terms of for the men, especially assisting with the prostate as well.
Oh,
However, um, when I went to Africa earlier this year, I did an initiation with the Bwiti, and those are the stewards of one of the fifth dimensional medicines that I work with.
right.
But I had made a stop in Ghana before I got to Gabon to do that initiation, and I met up with some powerful brothers over there, and I was able to procure a compound out of Niger, Africa, that is a
Right.
male psychedelic and a male enhancement compound, and it's called Wanzini. The
Yep.
Wanzini, it's wild because when he told me about it, I mean, I'm not a man, but I know that, like, men, this is something that y'all would value if this was actually true. So I say, you know what, I'm gonna believe you and I'm gonna just bring it home because that's my mission, to travel the world, tap into these indigenous markets and bring back some really exotic things. And what
Hmm.
this man told me, he said the Wanzini literally makes the phallus heavier.
Like girth or weight.
I don't like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a thing, so I don't know. But the older men love it. The older men that come to me, they tell me they can't go without it. And they
Right.
say it brings back blood flow or something. But he said something about making it heavy, like makes it bigger, makes it heavier. But it's also kind of like an aphrodisiac slash, psychedelic, like, so it gives you a really beautiful, like, natural high,
Okay.
but it gives you the libido, like they say they last longer, it makes them bigger and stronger down there, all the things that y'all be feeling like y'all need, and then they feel it right away. But it's accumulative too. So if you take it today and then you take it tomorrow, what you took yesterday is going to actually add to what you took today. So that's a compound that I have in store as well, and I made it very affordable for you guys. So if you're looking for the Wanzini, you can hit me up for that too.
Will that be with you in Brooklyn when you come to Nicholas on Saturday?
Yeah, I think I sent you some. Have you tried it?
I did not. Did you send that in this package, the Wanzini?
Man, you tried the Wanzini. I think,
When I was in Jacksonville.
yeah.
Oh man, that was Wanzini.
Yes.
Okay, because you was bringing out a lot of elixirs and whatnot. Like I remember, I was trying a lot of things. Oh,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, the Wanzini, y'all. The Wanzini. Okay, so that was the one where I was like, "Yo, you got any more of that liquid that you?" Yes, the Wanzini is Wanzinin, y'all. I promise you on everything. The Wanzini is Wanzinian. So I didn't have a name for that, but I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna write that down. I think you was holding the name from me. How do
Yeah.
you spell that?
Wanizi.
Okay,
Yeah, man. Y'all better get it before I sell out.
man. Yeah,
But I'm gonna
that's
bring
it.
some to New York. Go ahead.
Thank you for putting a name on it.
What happened when was it doing what I said it do? Like, what, I mean,
Well, it was definitely doing that. It was just that I remember taking a lot of compounds and whatnot that strong in. So my whole body was just being you know what I mean, realigned and you know what I'm saying, refurbished and whatnot. But yes,
mm,
I remember there being definitely there was an effect taking place. I remember that. So yeah,
okay.
I highly recommend the Wanzini. If you do have that, please bring that to New York with you so I could talk to these elders about investing in their quote unquote their manhood health, right? I guess that's the word for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man. Um definitely. Let me ask you the next question. What should a person take that is coming off of drugs? Right? Somebody wants to know what should a person take coming straight off of drugs? What herbs should be taken to start repairing the body the right way so the body can be introduced to stronger herbs?
Again, get a PRR kit from me. Start with things like the Mighty Conjure, the Galactic Greens with the micronutrients, the Solar Ascension, all these things. But get to that fifth dimensional medicine cabinet with me. You know, I keep
Right.
talking about the Purple Heart plant from Black Panther. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's the one that we first came out mentioning on this live. But that medicine is the number one rival to drug addiction, and it can literally eradicate any kind of, not only just any drug addiction, but any kind of spiritual addiction, or compulsiveness. That's the root of addiction is compulsiveness,
Mm.
and that's spliced with trauma.
Mm.
So certain traumas create compulsiveness, compulsive
Right.
behavior, obsessive compulsive things. And then you just get caught up in this loop, in this cycle. But this particular medicine, what it does is it gives you the ability to, one, experience your emotions without becoming them. so that you can better observe yourself from the seat of your higher soul.
Right.
And it allows you to be able to rewind the tape, go back in time, sit with yourself in those moments when you actually first encountered whatever experience caused you to go down that path. As your remote viewing, make a different choice and instantly unhook the dopamine connection by actually psychically envisioning yourself going in a different direction, which is literally how we're able to rewire and rewrite our DNA.
So in science, that's called neuroplasticity, right?
Yes. And
And
neurogenesis.
neuroplasticity is the ability to rewire the brain, thus rewire experience, thus rewire our traumas and whatnot. um Heavy meditation, even
Mm-hmm.
hypnosis is people who are tapping into what we would call entheogens, right? They've
Mm-hmm.
been able to do that as well. Deep breathing, deep meditation, people have been able to rewire experiences and, just unhook, like you said, unhook trauma from their dopamine receptors and whatnot. Very interesting that you're talking about what you're speaking of, because we've been doing shows on spiritual psychosis, and collectively as a community, we've been watching people suffer that are suffering under spiritual psychosis online and other places. And I also reported that when I went to New York recently and a few other places, I began to notice that there's people suffering from a lot of mental illnesses, and there's been a collapse in a lot of people's mental health recently, right? And there's an uptick in black men, especially. But overall, around the whole base, the whole border, there's an increase in people unaliving themselves and checking out because of mental health issues. So, can you speak to that briefly? Can you speak to what are some of the things that are responsible for this breakdown that we're seeing, and how could we reverse it?
Um, yeah, I mean, just life, a lot of times, we live in this reality that could be very predatorial, and it's a very intense reality where things are constantly coming at you. Some people call it a frequency war, where one minute you up high, you chilling, you good. Next minute you get hit with some news, you get hit with a bill, you get hit with an argument, and then all of a sudden your energy's back in the slumps. And it's constantly happening over and over and over to where you're constantly being chipped away at, chipped away at, chipped away at, to where you develop these holes in your auric field and you can no longer absorb the shock and be able to keep going without crashing out, so to say. Because,
Yeah.
again, we're all in a cosmic vessel, vehicle, the Merkaba, right? And so
Right.
we're navigating the cosmos, which is this earthly realm in this case, but we have to keep our vehicle intact so that we do not crash out. And, sometimes working with these medicines can be a really good ally, because they strengthen your auric field and they put a shield, an extra layer of protection around your auric field so that you can move through life absorbing the shock and being able to keep going without resorting to um, negative and toxic coping mechanisms in order to continue to maintain yourself, which is what they showed you in Black Panther. His whole suit was made of this stuff. They call it vibranium, but I feel like it's also connected to the purple heart plant, because every time he would, get hit and chipped away at from his enemy, he
Right.
would absorb the shock and actually tai chi it and
Right. Get
use
fit
it,
and get
you
stronger.
know, yeah, to get strong. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be taking these hits and then turning around and, you know, crashing out. We're supposed to be getting empowered. This is supposed to be alchemy, you know? where we're taking it and alchemizing it into more strength, more ashe, and more life force. So the medicines that we need to be tapping into is medicines that's going to invoke that type of power, not just taking some stuff that's you're not really feeling the difference in, or it's just causing negative side effects, and you're constantly getting knocked down to lower and lower and lower levels until you get consumed, because that's what a lot of this stuff that these capitalistic companies do. They create stuff that is designed, hey, how you doing, designed to eat away at you until they can literally feast on your whole vessel as a carcass. you know that's the game, just
Right.
constantly chipping away, and it don't happen overnight. It happens in layers and levels. It's constantly picking, poking, chipping until it's enough, until the hole is big enough for things to come in and just completely snatch away all of your sovereignty.
Right.
They
So
say the
somebody wants
game
to
is
know.
cold, but it's fair. You know,
You got people
because
looking for that Wanzini. They on the website asking about that. Is it on your website?
let me put this out there so y'all understand how I operate. I consider all my medicines sacred medicines, because these are ancestral medicines. These are medicines that I protect. These are medicines that I don't allow the general public to just purchase. You got to check in with me before you purchase my medicine. You know,
Right.
so you don't necessarily have to get a consultation if you just know what you want, or you've done business with me before. But if you literally come in for the first time, it's wise to get a consultation. Once you get a consultation, I could put together a care plan for you based on what you're going through, what you're dealing with. If you know what you want, you could just hit me up and purchase it if you really have all the answers you need. But get a consultation, put an order in directly with me, and then you can purchase whatever it is that you're looking for, that you heard of, if you're sure about that. But if you really want to kind of get more information about what direction you should be going in, if you want to tackle multiple things, if you're on a specific um game plan and budget, we can kind of come together and devise something for you. I also do consultations for businesses. I also do consultations on a ceremonial level. So if you want to say, you know what, I want to really activate my DNA, and I want to really anchor in my oversoul and invoke deep omnipresence, and I want to do this the right way. What should I be doing? Where should I start? What should I plan for? How should I prepare? We can have that conversation.
Right.
So you would book a consultation on my website, and then we would be able to sit up and set us time to go into all of the different layers of what it would take to get you where you're looking to go. Whether that's just getting a kit, or starting with a compound or two, or actually getting a kit and setting up a individual ceremony, or becoming a part of a group ceremony. Or if you're a business and you're looking to expand, and you're looking to tap into some of these medicines to be able to offer to your clients, or learn some of the things, we could talk about what that looks like too.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. I have two more questions. Is that cool?
Hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Um, they want to know which pack should we start off with, and do you refer a meal plan in accordance with our blood type as well?
That's a good question. I would start off with the copper tier. The copper tier is the basic tier. I literally started off with like the gold tier, which is like coming with like 8 compounds. But I said, I want to make this a little more simple and more affordable. So I came with a copper tier that is starting with 5 compounds, and it's for $444. You're gonna get the magnesium arcana, you're gonna get the solar ascension, you're gonna get the parasite purge, the crimson codex, you're gonna get a binder, and that's pretty much how you start off with that kit. Um, or you can get the Divine Digest. Just depends on what you're looking to have. But in terms of I'm sorry. You had a second part to the question.
They want to know about meal plans in accordance with
Meal
the blood type.
plans. Um, you know what? I don't really go too much into like eating according to your blood type. I personally believe that you should eat according to what your body is telling you to eat and your intuition. And I encourage people to do is listen to their bodies more, listen to their intuition more, and as you're working with the system, incorporate fatty foods, avoid sugar, and just try to listen to what it is that your body is asking you for, because as you purify your body with this system, it's going to tell you what it needs. You're going to start to activate your taste buds differently, and your taste buds are going to tell you, let's have some of this today, let's have some of that today, let's avoid this, let's do that. That's pretty much how I encourage people, because I mean, I don't really know how, I don't know what I know until I know it through experience and for a fact. You see what I mean? So the whole blood type thing, it could be the truth, it could not be the truth. But I know what my body is going to tell me. I trust in my body, and I'm building a relationship with my body so that my body can communicate to me what it needs. And then I allow that experience to live and see if those downloads actually survive, you know experience enough for me to validate what those downloads were and how it's actually being incorporated into my life, and what my blood work is showing me. Now, if my blood work is showing me, you know what, you're doing great, and this is the downloads you got, this is the food that your body was telling you to eat after so many, like just having, listening to what you have a taste for, and it's working for you, then fine. But if you're not able to really get a benefit out of the things that you've been choosing to eat, then maybe you need to cleanse and kind of do more of a juice fasting for a little bit longer time, so you can get a better understanding of what it is that your body is giving you feedback on.
Excellent, excellent.
What's the other question?
Um, what herbs are you aware of that brings down your organ functions?
A lot of them, like the cascarilla, cascarata, something something like I can't think of the name, but it starts with the SC. But I would say a lot of the everyday herbs people take, the clove, the wormwood, the walnut hulls, they tell you that you can't take them for more than 2 to 3 weeks at a time, or even up to a month at a time, because they can affect your kidney function, because they really pull a lot of things out, you know
Right.
so um I don't really work with a ton of herbs in order to like just name all of them off, but that's just the nature of herbs in general. Some of them, don't get me wrong, can build your organ function, but a lot of them do, because they're based on detoxification. Anything that's based on detoxification naturally can pull things out of the body that don't necessarily need to be pulled out, with some of the bad stuff it's bringing taken out of the body.
Right. Right. Okay. How harsh are the parasite cleanses? Do you recommend people stay out of work for the first few days?
Mm. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting too. I just thought about it. Somebody just hit me up about duck flower. That's one that definitely affects,
Yeah, that's
um,
intense.
yeah, and it's like it pulls out a lot of bile and stuff like that. My stuff isn't harsh. The only harshness that you're gonna get from my medicines is the fact that it has niacin and cayenne pepper, and it's a little bit heavier on the compounding side. So your gut, you want to take these medicines with some kind of food on your stomach, because otherwise it could be a little harsh in terms of the food. I mean, in terms of just having a little bit of a stomach irritation. But outside of that, it's not harsh at all. It gives you a lot of energy.
Oh, okay. Okay. Were you talking about the Cascara Sagrada? As
Cascara Sagrada, yes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I used to take that as a youth, and there was a lot of griping that comes with that. It was very
Hmm.
it was very intense. It was told to me that this is how cramping feels,
Yeah.
and what?
Another one is the Senna. Senna is something that I used to use, and Senna is real good when it comes to like helping you move your bowels, but your stomach will be cramping so bad taking that Senna leaf, because it's very harsh. A lot of these herbs, they could be very harsh.
Right. Okay. Okay. What's good for the teeth and skin resume? Because your skin is super clean and smooth. They say you got good skin. You said it was your blood. I say it's your skin too. You know what I mean? There's a routine. But they want to know what's good for the teeth and the skin.
Hmm. It's funny because like my mom always would tell this stories talking about like when I was born, like everybody like in the family was just looking at me like what's going on, like what's wrong with her because I came out and I was like extremely red, and I was so red that they thought I was crying all day, but I was just sitting there normal. But again, that's it's that fire. But this is a toothpaste that I use. Can y'all
Okay.
see that?
Yes. Living well, rejuvenate,
Re-
regeneralizing.
Remineralizing. So it's a
Mineral.
mineralized based toothpaste. So this basically helps build the mineral composition of your teeth. So that's pretty much what I use for my teeth. Um, for my skin, like I said, I use my compounds. That's the main thing I use. This is like a ayahuasca. I just started using this though. Like my skin been like this for years. But this is called tepazuchi, and this is like from the Mimosa hostilis tree.
Okay.
Now, one of my favorite things to use is organic castor oil. You know,
For the
um,
skin.
yeah,
Okay.
because I don't really like to I don't like to use. I like thick oil that has emulsion in it. Like I don't like to feel ashy. But I make my own elixirs too. Like I got one for the skin called Galactic Gold that like literally can like turn your hairs on your skin gold. But this is something else that I use. One of the first elixirs I made. This stuff is really good. You can actually drink this, but I put a lot of minerals and nutrients in this. I learned this science from a doctor, um, Dr. Kassar, and he's out of Hawaii. He's called a earther, and he teaches you how to cleanse the body by using this vodka based elixir. So this is my own personal one that I created called Vod Cure. And what I did was, I pretty much just put, certain things like, silica, diatomaceous earth, sodium bicarbonate, clove, eucalyptus, magnesium, a
Mm.
few different things in here, along with DMSO to like really drive it into the skin. And I'll go into the sauna, and when I go in the sauna and I sweat and I open up my pores, I'll use that vodka based elixir, and I'll, kind of like rub this on my skin to like really clean deep into my pores. But as we know, alcohol is an extractant. So, the alchemy of this is like you're able to like really extract negative energy and density off your auric field by opening up your auric field with the heat and using the alcohol to pull with all the nutrients and minerals on it. So it's like an advanced form of Reiki that I'm able to do, and then you take certain little microdoses of things, then the energy gets even more intense. So those are just some of the practices that I have done over the years. Um, but again, the most greatest thing that you can do is increase your um, purification regimen
for your blood and um your plasma, you know,
Mhm.
because you have your blood and your urine. Those two things are both plasma. That's why when you go to the hospital, not only do they take your blood sample, they take your urine sample.
Right.
Now, with your urine, if you notice, a lot of times when you take certain vitamins, like those B vitamins, and you take a pee, your urine gets really bright.
Right.
Well, if your urine is bright, being that urine is plasma, that means your plasma is bright. That's transferring into your blood, also being brighter. So the brighter that you can make your plasma, the brighter your skin will be.
Mm, that's interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. Man, this is some top tier information, man. You like GPT right now, you know? Giving us the game. We might have to we might have to develop a angelic Ariel GPT just so people can ask you, you know? Just so they can ask questions when you're not around because this is some good information. And one thing that I know about my audience that one of the reasons why I know that they're going to show up at Nicholas in Brooklyn in droves and whatnot is because this is the type of information that we are in divine alignment with. On this platform, we speak about artificial intelligence. We've been
Mhm.
teaching that for years now. And I stand on it, you know what I mean? Because I know the scientists and the engineers that are amongst us, they've benefited immensely off of the technology that's been rolled out, right?
Mhm.
But what I also know is that that technology is more beneficial to the scientists and the blurs that are in this community who are really about ancestral intelligence, and alien intelligence, and they know how to apply they know how to apply that technology like
Mhm.
coding and programming and developing to things that are going to benefit us unlocking these superhuman, super sapien type of powers that we have within.
Mhm.
They're going to utilize the technology to align themselves more spiritually, and they're also going to do more research and they're going to discover things and they're going to become better scientists, better quote unquote, better sorcerers, better problem solvers, and better teachers. So I definitely want to say that the information that you're providing, the way that you're making it very plain and whatnot, those that are in the audience, that are scientists, that are the engineers, that are the developers, I know they're gonna take this information and do something with it. You feel me? Because I know that I am. And I'm going to my team and we're gonna start building out solution-based tools and whatnot, and we're gonna use this information to just further our research. So definitely.
Mhm. Yep. And that's the thing, like somebody asked to unpack why brighter plasma is better. Well, think about it. Who running from the sun?
Right.
You know, the
It's
parasites, right?
the
They show
parasite.
you in all the vampire movies. As soon as the sun hit them, they just literally just disintegrate. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you bring yourself into light, then you don't have to dwell in the darkness with the parasites. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a science to the darkness too. But I'm talking about just, walking in light. I'm an archangel, so I'm gonna always promote the light,
Right.
because that's consciousness, that's intelligence, that's the Father. When people talk about having a relationship with God, this is the whole reason why, you know, everyone sees, for the most part, God as a masculine figure, and
Right.
as because it's the principle, that's the intelligence, it's literally a force, like the sun literally gives instruction for every single thing on this planet to do and to grow and how to be. The earth is the womb, is the feminine, that's the container. You see what I'm saying? But the light is the divine spark, you know So the more brighter you are, the more of that divine spark that you have, and that divine spark will eventually turn into the holy flame, that blue flame, not that low vibrational inflammational flame, but that holy flame that can destroy all darkness. And that's
Right.
what time we on right now. This is why so many people are saying, a lot of the heat is turning up in terms of things that's being done to melanated beings, because we have the solar energy on our side, and that solar energy is saying a lot of people, are not in alignment, and it's not even necessarily predicated to having melanin or not, because you could be melanated and still be in opposition to the solar energy. You see what I'm saying? It's
I
about
feel
frequency.
you're
Hmm?
right, right. Because this summer, when when the mayonnaise, let me stop. When people were getting cooked in Europe, right, to the point of 16,000 deaths. Now, this is something that we seriously have to sit back and really examine, because people were being unalived with AC in their house. I don't want people to think about how severe the sun has to be against your natural body, that you're being unalive even inside of houses that had AC. It wasn't like the AC failed in Europe. It wasn't like the grid collapsed and it took these people out. No, they were being taken out under air conditioned conditions. There's something that the sun is emitting in the form of neutrinos and rays and whatnot that is, I mean, how severe. I understand freezing to death, but the sun is unaliving you? That I can't even, it's
Mhm.
unfathomable to me. I know about spontaneous combustion and whatnot, but I'm like, what? I need to see it. Like, I need to see, what did that look like? Like, what led up to the moment of unaliving? I want to know what the last 3 hours even looked like underneath a summer sun, a sun that melanated people literally run to. Like, we get naked and we lay out and we run to that sun and like, cook me. Like, let me get my, you know what I mean? I want to get my color. I want to get my melanin popping. We never think about death. That is not a thought. We don't run from the sun. That is not something that we've ever, in all of the years, I've never heard that. Yo, get out the sun, run from the sun, hide from the sun. The sun is coming to get you.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's wild. We live in a very interesting time, and you even have some people that are melanated that feel that they need sunblock and stuff like that. And this was just another psyop to get people to actually, you know, put cancerous.
Carcinogenic properties on their bodies, right? And I'm thank you so much for bringing that up, because yes, this summer when the same thing was going on in Europe, melanated people, black people, were being cooked, and they were uncomfortable, and they were being cooked by the sun, and they were being affected negatively, right? And they were putting on sunscreen, and I was
But they
like,
was believing this stuff
they
because
were
they,
believing
you
it,
know,
right? They've been
and that's the
marketing.
thing. Like a lot of people that are melanated, they've been programmed so much to where they look outside of their own. And this is why sovereignty is so important. And this is why I promote sovereignty. The first level and layer of sovereignty is biogenetic, because if you don't understand that the importance of genetics and the importance of actually valuing your genetics enough to be able to go within and learn how to operate this machinery, and not trusting other outside sources that are just all about profit and don't even have the genetic rank to even begin to hold space for you. Then you're going to be subject to all the lies and all the gimmicks in the games, and everything they give you. They tell you all the side effects that it comes with. That's just the consent form right there. This is what we're going to do to you. And if you still take it after this is all the things that we put into the fine print, then we've operated within the laws of Ma'at, the laws of the cosmic law of just being able to tell the truth and still do what you do. This is why they've been able to get away with all of this stuff, because they're putting it right in your face and you're still choosing to sign up for it. So at that point, the joke is on you, you know, because they let you know out the gate what they was going to do and you still chose to participate in that. So that's what we're dealing with. That's what it is. You know? Yep. And yeah, but I thought some were waiting on the sun to come back and save them. Sun gazing is amazing. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I'm not, I feel like waiting on the sun is no different than waiting on Jesus. Because at the end of the day, you still waiting on something outside of yourself. You have to invoke that energy. The sun is there, but you have to invoke a power within yourself to be able to meet the sun halfway and then bring, you know, the sun to you. Build a bridge between your biofilm and the sun, because you have the melanin to do that. You have the intelligence to do that. And that's when the sun is going to start pouring more into you, because, you know, you're actually making the effort. God helped those that help themselves. So you need to help yourselves, you know, instead of just sun gazing. How about turn your entire body into a solar panel? Because you have lenses all over your body, which is what the melanin receptors are, the melanocytes are, or the photonic receptors. They're all over you. And the biblical scripture tells you that when it says, may thy eye be single, that whole body shall be full of light. When you reverse that scripture, thy whole body shall be full of light if thine eye may be single. That means that when you really fill your whole body with light, then everything is hollow and you're able to see with your first eye. That one, that clearness, you know. Light is clarity. Light is sight, you know. So this is definitely a very layered discussion, you know, and the more lighter we become, the more power that we'll be able to have. And this is all tied into our wealth, because you're able to edit the expression of your genes so that higher light codes within your genetics express themselves and lower genetic memory turns off, and that allows for pattern recognition to come through more clearer. And when your genetics are aligned in the pattern that they are expressing, then the external patterns in everyday life and reality become that much more easier to interpret, to recognize, and to leverage. And this is where, you know, different hobbies come in, like, you know, stock market trading and, you know, sport betting, or, you know, anything that you want to do, like any market that you're dealing with. You want to be able to recognize the patterns. But if you can't recognize the patterns within your own genetic structure first and correct those patterns, then the external matrix patterns are going to be harder to recognize, and they're going to be harder to, you know, actually, you know, leverage. You know, this is where your wealth comes from. You know, and this is a science that I teach, and it's called the metabolic mirror. When you're able to literally mirror the frequency and the vibration of your metabolism, because the metabolism is the code word for your vibration, you know. So basically your metabolism is your vibration on a biological level. It shows where you're vibrating at. That's why little babies, little children, they vibrate extremely high because their metabolism is very high, and vice versa. So when you increase your metabolism on an external level, your metabolism increases in terms of the people, places, and things that you entertain and that you engage. And this is how you're able to jump timelines, you know, because you're no longer, you know, instead of you going left today, you chose to go right. And when you went right, you actually ran into a different group of people because you was thinking on a different frequency, because your metabolism shifted, which shifted the way that you move through the matrix, the way you move through this reality. So, you know, that's what we're doing. What type of water do you drink? Do you put HERS in water. Do you think distilled water is good for the body? You know what? I don't know how to say your name. Paper route? Yes. That's actually an excellent question. And I'm gonna show you how tapped in you is because this is the water that I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking distilled water and I'm adding the Celtic salt to my distilled water. This all I drink. And this does amazing for me. You know, they tell you not to drink distilled water because it's blank slate water, but with all this stuff going on, this is the only water I really trust because this is the water that's completely blank. It don't have nothing in it, and then I add my own minerals and nutrients in it. Now, you know they say that sea moss has 92 plus minerals and nutrients for the body. We don't necessarily know that to be fact or not. However, if sea moss does have minerals and nutrients of that level 92 plus whatever, it gets it from the salt in the water. So we're going directly to the salt, to the source. And a lot of people use the Himalayan salt, but trust me when I tell you it ain't got nothing on the Celtic salt, because this Celtic salt is like really gray. You can actually see the minerals and nutrients in it. And you know, if you add 2 to 3 pinches of Celtic salt to your water every single day or every time you drink the water, not only does it help regulate your nervous system, but it also um it also helps regulate your bowels. You know, it keeps your bowels regular. You know, it's really, really good for nervous system regulation and just keeping your bowels moving along, which a lot of people struggle with. So, you know, that's something that y'all want to do, and you'll taste it. Like when you add the Celtic salt to the water, the distilled water, it tastes like rich. It tastes like very, like full. It don't taste like it's pulling. And this is and beside that, I just drink that, and I drink coconut water, and then I'll have some fresh juices here and there. But those is the things that I like to drink particularly because you know that's just, to me, like, I have to see it. I have to see the power and the alkalinity in my water. you know and then y'all also should be cooking. Y'all should be cooking with the Celtic salt as well. um it's gonna add way more nutrients, and this is something that y'all all can afford.
Yes.
um but it's gonna add more nutrients and minerals to your food and help you move your bowels and season your food. So that's a very simple fix. You can get a big bag of Celtic salt for less than $15. I've been using it for over 10 years. It's worked wonders for me, and that's probably another reason my skin is glowing too. But it helps with that electromagnetism too, because you're dealing with the salt, you're dealing with electricity, you're dealing with magnetism because it's got magnesium in it. So it's increasing your electromagnetic current the more you take that.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Whew, beautiful conversation. Can you let the family know where you gonna be at on Saturday, August the 29th?
I'm gonna be at the Nicholas bookstore with Red Pill, my brother Ross Ben. I'm looking forward to that because I ain't seen Ross Ben in a little minute. Yeah, I'm gonna be with the family and we're gonna have a cacao. I'm pulling up with some of my compounds. Yeah, I'm gonna have some fifth dimensional medicine with me too. I actually make some really exotic fifth dimensional medicines that, are my own creations that are very unique to my brand. So if y'all come through, y'all gonna definitely enjoy, some of the things I'm cooking up. I'm coming through with the Wanzini, for the fellas that need that. And if y'all pull up, y'all ain't gonna need no consultation because I'm willing to answer all the questions that y'all have for me when we live in the flesh and live in color.
Yes,
So
we're gonna have
come
a
through.
booth. Yeah, she will have a booth, and she'll be able to do one-on-ones. She'll have a whole product line, and she's also opening up. So if you're on the live stream, you're gonna get some information that we not gonna get on YouTube. You know what I mean? You're gonna get a full demonstration. You're gonna get an uncensored demonstration where we'll be able to go all the way up and talk more intensely about the plant-based medicines and things of that nature that we can't talk about on YouTube. So if you're in the Patreon, if you're gonna be on the Zoom, or if you're gonna be IRL in real life, make sure you are in the building. Make Saturday night your destination to level up. Let Saturday night, the last Saturday of August, be the Saturday to whereas you're going to prepare for the future with Ross Ben. He's going to help you with the rest of this year and he's going to give you forecasting, but also you're also going to get the enlightenment from this goddess right here, where she's going to help you with your God body and your goddess body. She's going to be giving you all of the tools that you need in order not to only go into the future, but to go into the future as your future self, to walk towards the future, to walk into your higher self and into your future self with the solutions and not the problems. And then we're also going to have another sister opening up, and she's going to show you how she used technology to build out her own prediction market. Now, once again, for a disclaimer, we are not promoting any form of gambling. When we talk about prediction markets, we are promoting forecasting, right? We want to know what works. We don't want to speculate. We don't want 1,000 people coming on YouTube and just saying anything, but there's no way of them to quote unquote gauge their predictions. I'm tired of that. They're on every single channel telling people what's going to happen and nothing never happens. So we're looking for the forecasters, the real visionaries, the real truth seekers, the real soothsayers. And if you can prove it, then it will be proven. Other than that, I'm looking at you sideways. No disrespect, but it's enough. Enough is enough with the doomsday predictions and everything that never ever comes true. When people are literally making millions of dollars off of proving their art and their science.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We're gonna have a time. Yeah, I'm flying in Friday and I'm gonna be there till Sunday. So yeah, I'm gonna be there for the whole 3 days. I'm looking forward to this, leading up to my actual um event. I'm gonna have an immersive experience out in Hawaii coming up in September. Might be a little late notice for y'all to join, but I might have like one or two spots left. But we're gonna be tapping in. It's called the Resurrection Experience because we taking this third dimensional vessel and we actually elevating it to a fifth dimensional state based on working with the foundational supplementation, working the modalities, the breath work, the meditation, the prayer, the Kriya yoga, and also tapping into the fifth dimensional medicine cabinet. We're gonna of course have the cacao, have some really good food. It's gonna be an immersive cultural experience with the kahunas of the land, doing the Inipi style sweat lodge. We're also going to have an emu, which is a Hawaiian based cultural feast where they grill everything deep in the earth and it's all this beautiful, alkaline plant-based food, and we all come together and work to like build this feast, and then we come together and we eat and then we sweat and then we go back and we meditate and do our little thing inside the pyramid where we work with our medicine, and yeah, we tap into the ancestral realm and we come back whole again, death,
Yes.
birth, and resurrection, baby.
Yes. For somebody asking the time, 8 p.m. is when the show starts, 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, August the 29th at Nicholas Brooklyn Bookstore, 1396 Fulton Street. All right. Inside of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, 8 p.m. into 11 p.m. is the call time. All right. So if you come in a little bit late, no worries. We'll be open up until 11 p.m. And if we have to go over, then we will. Okay. But we also will be live streaming. So if you're in anywhere around the world and you can't make it to Brooklyn, don't feel no type of FOMO, fear of missing out. Just tap into the live stream. We made it affordable. We'll have it, and you'll be available. You'll have access to a replay, So if the information is coming at you at a very fast pace, because of course, you'll be amongst the masters, right? The master teachers, you'll be able to get the replay, rewind it, pause it, do further research. We live in an age of AI. You could do deep research that you never were able to do before. You're able to do very, very deep research with these tools and whatnot. So not only could you receive the information that Ross Ben is given, the sister Ariel is given, the Uncle Hank is given, but you could literally go and do further research, turn that research into a research paper. You could turn it into a thesis. You could turn it into an ebook. You could turn it into a website. You could turn it into multiple blog posts. So there are ways now to take the information, which I would say information dump, right? Because the data is worth gold. So these will be literally like going into a gold mine. The lectures are like gold mines. The lectures are like diamond mines. And you can extract from these lectures and you can extract from this information more information so you could build on top of it. That is if you're a student. This is for the students. This is for the master students who eventually want to become master teachers and whatnot. This is the path that you are actually going to build on. So yes, very good time. What a time to be aligned. You know what I mean? What a time to be in alignment. And I'm not just gonna talk about it. I'm gonna show and prove. I'm gonna actually lay it out. Right after this show, I have a special show coming up dealing with our new endeavor where we're going to be pivoting into our survival mode. We're going to be pivoting into our survival mode. And it's called Common Unity, right? It's called Common Unity, which is a play on community. And I'm gonna be uploading a bunch of solutions and whatnot. We got this ball rolling. I'm invigorated about this topic. I stayed up all night the other night writing out ideas and whatnot. I am charged up. I want to be responsible, and I want to be a factor when it comes to preparedness and our people coming together and finally building something so we're not caught out there like quote unquote Gary, Indiana, and like now Memphis, because Memphis, Tennessee is without power and whatnot. So what we know is that it's not only the natural storms, it's not only the natural disasters that are going to be taking out the lights and taking out the energy and taking out people's power, it's the data centers, right? It is the data centers. The data centers are playing a humongous part in degrading the amenities that we naturally had, and it's only going to get worse. But once again, as things get worse, we get better. I'm going to repeat that. As things get worse, we get better. All right. It's almost like being in a gym. The more weight and the more pressure that is applied, right? The more weight and the more pressure that is applied, the stronger we get. So let's get it, right? Let's get it. Let's utilize these situations as a clarion call for us to come together as a community and match have a think tank, match minds, match resources, right? And just build something. Cause I'm not a fan of being unprepared. That's a pet peeve of mine. That causes anxiety within me. I think it's just a scorpion in me. So now, while we have the opportunity, we got the electrical grid. The shit is working. The USD, the dollar is still a dollar, even though it's losing its power. While we have the opportunity, we still got 800 credit, people out there with good credit, people out there with 501c3s and nonprofits and everything. While this still exists, we are going to be proactive. We are going to be proactive. So the next show that I got coming up is going to be building on that. I've gotten hundreds of responses from the family and whatnot. So that right there just shows me that y'all are ready. Sister Ariel, if you're back, pull up so we could close this thing out. And like I said, we definitely have a show coming up where it will be a topic, and we'll have the sister on in the building, and she'll be answering any and all questions. You said that you're in. I don't see you. Okay. Give me 1 second. Oh, you hate being unprepared too? Yeah, yeah. I that's not a good feeling. That's not a good feeling. We've been shown. We've been shown. We've been warned. Um, the whole thing with Gary, Indiana, was it was a dry run, and it was also a warning for anybody paying attention that preparedness is next to godliness at this juncture in the game. Preparedness is next to godliness at this conjuncture in the game. We need places where we could meet up if anything were to go wrong in some of these big cities. We need places that we need safe places where we could meet up as a tribe in a collective. Because if anything goes awry and if anything goes wrong, I do not want to be with the knuckle draggers. I don't want to be around people that I'm not in alignment with. I need a destination so I could bring my family and whatnot to that destination, and we have to be amongst like minds. That's who I'm willing to go through the darkness with people that are on my frequency that I'm in alignment with. That's who I trust. I don't trust nobody else because I don't even trust nobody as it stands. But if the lights go out, I damn sure can't trust these people. So let's make these plans. Okay, we got technology, we got AI. I got geniuses on my team. I got monsters right now. I got a whole agency. You feel me? I got researchers, I got developers, I got builders, I got people with acres, I got landowners, I got people with non-profits, I got volunteers, I got ex-military. It's a lot of people ready to go. So now it's time to form this Voltron and put some things together. Oh, somebody said they got Voltron in the mail. Yes, put that in the car. I was driving around yesterday listening to that in the car. Please, if you got a CD player in the car, put that in the car and let that play and drive around and enjoy yourself. If you got Voltron, the digital download, I was at a festival yesterday and I was just walking around listening to it as I walked around. It felt like I was in a movie. For real. It felt like I was in a whole movie. Am I building my own website? Yes, I am. Am I building my own website? Yes, I am. Matter of fact, thank you for even asking that question. Let me drop my email in here for anybody that's out there who may have not who have missed the earlier shows and you didn't get my email. If you want to join our network, it's called Common Unity. It's a part of Facts Initiative. The Common Unity Initiative is a part of the Facts Initiative. Hit up my email right there in the chat. It's called the Mark125th at Gmail. And I will send you a response to let you know that I got it. And I'll put you in the quote unquote dossier. I'll put you in the network, in the group, and we're going to have a Zoom call. We're going to have a Zoom call or maybe a Google Meet, one of those Google Meet calls, and we will give you all of the information as we move forward. All right. But thank you, everybody that's been responding. Okay. All right. So, Sister Ariel, if you're in the building,
I can't see you right now. It may be because Brother HERU opened up the show and he has a control of the back office. But fret not, worry not. We're gonna be doing a show this week. Okay. All right, hold on. Give me 1 minute, area. Mm-mm-mm. Give me 1 minute, y'all. I'm just doing a little bit of logistics. Um, yeah. So this was a great build. I want to thank everybody for pulling up and for being here and for asking great questions. You feel me? And just bearing witness to what it is that we are doing and whatnot, and the information that we are bringing to the family. I've been speaking about bringing you this information for a minute now. I'm just elated that we're able to present it to you, and y'all are, y'all being exposed to what the sister is offering and to what our good brother Heru is offering, just in terms of the solutions that are being brought to the family. I pray and I hope that we are able to use this information to our benefit. Okay. And then I'm gonna have the sister come on and close out. Is there a ticket for the entire on Saturday? Is there a ticket price for the entire on Saturday? Yes. Ticket prices on the website. We have an Eventbrite link. Let me drop that Eventbrite link. I'm sorry. Thank you for even asking that. Give me 1 second. Let me drop this Eventbrite link. And like I said, I will be live in a little while. We have Rasbin later on tonight with Ra'aku, inshallah. That show is going to be monumental. The name of that show, as it stands, is called American Gods. And this one is going to be a mind blower, right? Because both of these master teachers, Ra'aku and Rasbin, they are going to be presenting information based off of the level of research that they do about the American gods, right? The fact that all of these gods that they taught us about were all American, all right? All Americans, okay? And it's going to be very, very powerful, especially based off of the information that they both have. The brother Rasbin put out a book, Free Your Mind, Free Your Mounds, and the Mind Will Follow. And Ra Aku, he's been doing deep dives on the the presence of the melanated man and woman in America and how that correlates to our destiny, our cosmophysic destiny. All right. So yes, we're gonna be tapping in with the two master teachers later on. But before we even bring them, I'm gonna be doing a special broadcast for the Common Unity movement. All right, so we could get ourselves prepared and we could get into this prepping and we could get into this indoor outdoor farming and things of that nature. All right, she's back.
Hey, I'm
Yeah.
sorry for the disappearance, but I've been here waiting to get back in, you know.
Yes, you back in the building. We got you.
Yep.
We
So
got
yeah,
you.
this was a
So,
great build.
mhm.
Anything else we want to discuss or tap into? Any questions
um, yeah,
that I
we were
missed?
definitely landing the plane, and we were letting the family know that you were gonna come and close out and leave us with some last words, and just give us some of the rundown about what it is that they have to look forward to when they tap in with you, right, through your website, and also when they see you in Brooklyn on Saturday.
Mm. Well, yeah, I'm just here. I'm here for our people. There's no greater time to be alive than right now because right now we have an endless amount of potential in terms of growth, in terms of the wealth transfer, and the wealth starts within. You can't have outer motion until you have inner motion. So let's put the inner motion back in the body. Let's put the inner current back in the body. Let's put all of the, wisdom that our ancestors bestowed upon us throughout the eons and different lifetimes. Let's invoke that energy. Let's invoke that ancestral memory and that true AI, that ancestral intelligence, so that we can elevate to the highest versions of ourselves and we can all walk in our authenticity. It's time for us to be ourselves because everybody else is taken and everybody came into this world with a divine role and a divine purpose. And I'm just here to support you all through the process of alchemizing that current state of wherever you're at into this higher timeline so that you can show up. Everybody needs everybody to show up right now. There's literally casualties right now because you're not walking in your purpose. And if I could support you in walking in your purpose and being a better version of yourself, I'm here for it, because we have a lot of opportunity to really create this new earth, this beautiful earth based on, us really tapping into this advanced information that is coming through the solar codes, that's coming through our genetics, that's coming through our ancestors who are supporting us, that's coming through the most high. All of these forces of the divine are on our side. And it's just us up to us to choose to align, choose to remember, and choose to anchor in and stand in that fold. So I'm here for y'all. Y'all let me know how I can assist, and I will be right there. Y'all come check out the event that we have this weekend at the Nicholas Bookstore in Brooklyn. You can also, book a consultation on my website. I will definitely give you all the information you need in order to succeed. And let's make this happen. You know, I
Definitely,
love you all.
definitely.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you all for listening to me. And thank you all, most importantly, for coming with the questions. Because my master teacher always said, in order to get an impeccable answer, you must first ask an impeccable question. And y'all asking some very impeccable questions. So I love that about you all. I love you all so much. Thank you for having me once again. Thank you, Red Pill.
You're welcome. And also, family, if y'all want to taste the best cacao on this planet, I'm gonna hit up Brother Rich today and find and see if I could bring about 10 cigars with me. But if y'all want to taste some of the best cacao on this planet, then y'all need to be in the building on Saturday. She's gonna have cacao as an offering. We talked and everything, and I was like, yo, one of the greatest things that we could do is just to present everybody that pulls up with a cup of cacao on the house, a love offering. You feel me? It's almost
Mhm.
because this is gonna be like a ceremony that we're going to be conducting in Brooklyn on Saturday, right after the Michael Jackson block party with Spike Lee, when everybody's charged up off of that Michael energy. We're going to go right into a time portal. We're going to get into the Star Nation with Ras Ben. But before that, we're going to get into the angelic Ariel Merkaba, right? And it's going to be an experience, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, the internet is one thing, but live action, when you in front of a person and you could feel their energy and you connect to their ancestral Wi-Fi, that is a healing experience. It is something that money cannot buy. All right. So be in the building. It's gonna be one for the ages and whatnot. New York needs this, Brooklyn needs this, the community needs this, and we are gonna be giving it to them. All right. So yes, thank you so much for pulling up. We appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you. And Saturday couldn't get here fast enough.
Ashe, Ashe. Be looking forward to the samples too, because I'm gonna be giving out some of my medicines and samples as well. So we're gonna have a lot of fun, y'all.
Spread the word, ladies and gentlemen. If you in the New York, if you know people from New York, let them know. Spread it like a rumor. You know what I mean? Spread it like it's hot tea. You know what I'm saying? And let them know. If you live out of town, just pull up and get yourself a ticket so you could be in the building and you could witness it in real time. All right?
Be there, be square, family.
That part. You know what I'm talking about? I appreciate you, and like I said, we even gonna try to get you on the show before Saturday so we could do a full demonstration, and and unpack a topic.
Okay, for sure. There's so many different ways and areas we can take this conversation into. So yeah, I'm here for it.
For sure. All right. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for your time and thank you for your attention. And have a beautiful, beautiful Monday and the rest of your strong. All right.
All right.
Yes, sir.